earlier today for a ceremony.
President Trump and the First Lady attended the investiture ceremony for Justice Brett Kavanaugh at the U.S. Supreme Court, a formal ceremony to welcome a new justice to the bench. Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker took part. Other attendees were Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and retired Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy, and former colleagues of Kavanaugh, including Judge Merrick Garland, whose nomination to the Supreme Court was blocked in 2016.
Fox's Jared Halpern in Washington. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg did not attend that ceremony. She is hospitalized with fractured ribs, recovering from a fall at home last night. Evacuations in Northern California as strong winds fan a wildfire northeast of San Francisco. It has quickly grown to nearly 8 square miles. One resident of a mobile home park in Paradise says flames were 12 feet high and near a hospital as she was driving to safety after evacuation orders this morning. An hour to the close on Wall Street, stocks are lower after the Fed left a key interest rate unchanged. The Dow is down 74 points. Elisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igumamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Good news, Guam! Now you can design a phone plan that suits your needs by switching to GTA's handset payment option. With HPO, you can take home a new smartphone today and pay it down over 12, 18, or 24 months. You decide. And since there's no contract, you can upgrade phones at any time. So stop waiting. Join the thousands already taking advantage of the most flexible phone plan on Guam. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. GTA, your island, your network.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The season of giving is here, and the stations of Choice Broadcasting want to give back. 93.3 The Point, Boss 104, Star 101, and Lux Guam present Charity of Choice. Each of our radio personalities have chosen a Guam charity that they would like to benefit.
And I chose Habitat for Humanity. Tune in daily to see how you can help.
Charity of Choice 2018 is brought to you by Choice Broadcasting Company, Lux Guam, American Water Tech, and the station that gives from the heart, 93.3 The Point.
Your first look at 93.3 The Point News is brought to you by Guam Hearing Doctors. Call the experts at Guam Hearing Doctors if you're worried about your hearing. The evaluation is simple and painless.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Governor Eddie Calvo yesterday issuing a statement congratulating all those who were voted into office on Tuesday. However, his statement makes no specific mention of Guam's first elected female governor and first openly gay lieutenant governor. In his statement, Governor Calvo wrote that it is not easy to run for office. Your life and every word and action you ever made comes under public scrutiny as the people decide whether or not you are worthy of their vote. To those who threw their hats into the ring, the governor said, I commend you for stepping up to the call to serve our island. For those who were voted into office, congratulations, and I pray for your success and honorable service to the public. Governor-elect Lou Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor-elect Joshua Tenorio made headlines nationally in the wake of Tuesday's vote. Yesterday, their transition team issued a brief statement saying the governor and lieutenant governor-elect are meeting with key advisors and working on their transition. They anticipate being able to publicly announce some of their initial plans sometime next week, according to the statement. Superior Court Judge Maria Senzon declaring a mistrial yesterday in the case against former Guam Police Colonel Mark Charfaris. Charfaris is facing charges of official misconduct and obstructing government functions for berating subordinate officers who were responding to a report of illegal fireworks on Christmas Eve 2016. The trial had just begun. Guam police officer Craig Calvo was the first witness to take the stand on Wednesday when, during questioning, he remarked that Charfaris was affiliated with the Agate Bloodtown gang. That prompted Charfaris's defense attorney, Randy Cunliffe, to call for a mistrial. Cunliffe said the prosecution is trying to smear his client's character before the jury by shifting the focus away from an investigation into illegal use of fireworks to Charfaris's reported gang affiliation. Judge Senzon agreed, declaring the prosecution had ample time to seek approval for the admissibility of character evidence of this sort, but they failed to file such notice. Senzon concluded that Charfaris was denied due process. She declared a mistrial. Chief Prosecutor Joseph McDonald said, "We respect the judge's decision, and they'll await the judge's written decision on the mistrial before deciding what their next move would be." We'll have more news after this.
We're surrounded by sound. There are sounds that you need to hear. There are sounds that you want to hear. And there are sounds that you long to hear. Hear it all, louder and clearer than ever before. If you or someone you know has a hard time hearing, Guam Hearing Doctors can help using state-of-the-art test gear to evaluate your hearing and coming up with a plan to make your life better by making your hearing better. Call Guam Hearing Doctors for an appointment or visit them on the web at guamhearingdoctors.com.
Konnichiwa! We'll be celebrating the 39th Japan Autumn Festival on Saturday, November 17th, 2 to 9 p.m. at the Governor Joseph Flores Beach Park or Ipao Park in Tumon. Parking will be available across Oka-Payless with free shuttle service starting at 1:30 p.m. Advance tickets available now at the Japan Club of Guam office located on the first floor of PM Marine. Once again, the Japan Autumn Festival at Ipao Beach Park, November 17th from 2 to 9. Come, join us. For information, call 646-8066. Thank you to our Platinum sponsor, Bank of Guam, and the radio stations of Choice Broadcasting.
12 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. The U.S. Army is investigating the death of a soldier from Guam. Sergeant Marcos John Uggan, 28 years old, died after being found unconscious at Camp Huvi and pronounced dead on Sunday at the Jungang St. Mary's Hospital in the nearby city of Dongducheon, near the border with North Korea. The Uggan joined the Army from Talifofo in January 2015. He was a cannon crew member with the Fort Bliss, Texas-based 3rd Army Armored Brigade, which rotated to South Korea last month. Battalion Commander Lieutenant Colonel Jason Carter said that Sergeant Uggan was a non-commissioned officer that everyone looked up to, and our thoughts and prayers go out to his family for their loss. Uggan is survived by his wife and 3 children. In a statement, the Army said the cause of his death remains under investigation. An Air National Guard pilot who was found unresponsive Tuesday on the beach in Tumon and later pronounced dead has been identified as Captain John Goeris. Goeris was a Stratotanker pilot assigned to the Alaska Air National Guard 168th Air Refueling Squadron. He was on deployment to Anderson Air Force Base. The Guam Fire Department responded to a reported drowning on Tuesday afternoon behind the Westin in Tumon. They found Goeris on the beach, rushed him to Guam Memorial Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The cause of Goeris's death remains under investigation. However, no foul play is suspected, according to a statement from the 168th Wing Command. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at weather.
Yeah, let's see what's going on here. We got partly sunny skies, warm with isolated showers. East winds up to about 20 miles an hour today, decreasing in the evening. Highs near 90 every day this weekend with a maximum afternoon heat index of around 103 degrees. Tomorrow, overnight lows of about 78 degrees. And take a look at the satellite map and the radar imagery and see if we can get an idea, fix on what the weather's going to be like for the next couple of hours. Mike?
Yeah, checking the radar here. Most of the activity now has pushed to our south, although we could see a few more showers blow on through as the day progresses. But things are going to be slowly and surely drying out today, and then that will continue right on through the weekend, and it's going to get hot. I don't know if you stepped outside this morning, but it already feels a little hotter than normal. And that's just how it is. Not all dry.
I thought that was us.
Yeah, not all dry air is cooler air. So in this case, we're getting a bit of drier but warmer air that's going to slide on through and make it pretty darn hot tomorrow. So if you're going out and about tomorrow doing any activities, you might want to make sure to load up with water.
All right. Now we go to the satellite imagery here. Now see if I can squeeze the entire Western Pacific into the Facebook and YouTube live stream here. We're about in the middle of the picture or somewhere, and off to the past the Marshalls. It seems a little bit more east of the Marshall Islands. I'm told that there is something that is a brewing out in that part of the Pacific. What are you looking at?
Yeah, we'll have to move that map on over to the left to get a view of that because we're just in the middle here right now. Yeah. So what happened is we've got a very weak disturbance called 98C. It's a Central Pacific system. It's very weak circulation. It's rolled on over the international date line, and it's kind of lingering out there, showing some signs of development now because conditions are a little favorable where it is. But the forecasts are for the conditions, especially upper-level conditions, to become much more unfavorable over the next few days. No development expected from this system whatsoever.
All right, because I thought that I had read something yesterday where there was at least one outlier model that was predicting that something could happen with this.
Yeah, probably the CMC, which is the most ridiculous and unreliable model of them all.
All right. Sunset, I'm glad to hear that. Sunset tonight at 5:51. We'll see the sunrise together, 6:17 this morning. It's 6:15 right now. That's news and weather together, brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches. They place roots.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas comes early. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
6:16 in the morning portions of the program brought to you by my pals over at King's Restaurant. And before I get it, I'm getting a question here from Lynn Polino asking if we're going to be holidaying on Monday. And the answer is no, we are not going to be holidaying on Monday. That is a work day for us here at Choice Broadcasting. So there will be a morning show. There will be an afternoon program as well. And there'll be news and weather and all of the things that you tune in for every single day. So, yes, we are going to be here Monday. And on Monday, we're having lunch over at King's because they got Salisbury steak. Today, it's Friday. Today, let me just say that again. Let me let the words Friday get as much, and I want to try to make that resonate as much as possible as we Friday our way through today. And at Friday at King's, it's beef Tinaktak. Let me see if I can get some resonance on that one there. Beef Tinaktak. Find it for lunch today at King's.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
The entire Ray Gibson Show brought to you by American President Lines, where they're shipping the future. American Water Tech, smarter water, better water. Guam Regional Medical City, first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. And, of course, MRE, Micronesia Renewable Energy. You know, there's never been a better time to go solar.
The Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Yeah, kind of wiggling around and trying to get comfortable, trying to get cozy. I don't know what it is. I think I woke up this morning with a couple of extra aches and pains Yeah, and I asked a doctor about that once upon a time. I said, Doc, every once in a while I wake up and I get this weird feeling here. I got a pinch over there. There's a little tingling here. I said, what's that from? He says, you have had too many birthdays. That's all that is. One too many birthdays or two too many birthdays, and then pretty soon in fact, you start looking forward to it. You wake up in the morning, I wonder what's going to hurt today.
Yeah, and you're glad when you do the body check and everything's okay.
All right,
It's
that's okay. That hurt yesterday too, so maybe I'm stepping wrong off or when I'm running yesterday or something like that. Anyway, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. It is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 FM. We are The Point, broadcasting on FM radio because it sounds better, and also spending some time with Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well. For those of you that are watching on the Facebook thing going, oh, man, he's going to say my name. Like Tim Lahan's going, he's going to say my name any minute now. Mark Cruz is going to go, oh, my God, he's going to say my name and say that we saw each other last night over at Papa's. He's going to say, he's going to do all that stuff. If you don't want me to say your name, it's cool. Go to YouTube Live. Go to YouTube and search for Ray Gibson or Ray Gibson Show, and you should be able to see today's broadcast. In fact, you go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to that, and then every morning you'll get a notification that we're online. Number one, and every time a video is uploaded, you'll get a notice that there is a video that we have uploaded. And so it's just another great way that you and I can interact with each other. It's a great new way to listen to the radio by watching the radio, and I think it's pretty cool. Now we got Michael Knight in the studio on that side where he can answer the phone and tell you all about what it is that we're talking about on the radio today. You can reach him at 888-8255. That's 888-TALK. Or if you want to go direct, there's another way that you can go direct to me, which is with WhatsApp 988-5874. That's 988-5874. In fact, do me a favor, make the contact. If you're not doing anything right now, make the contact in your phone system now. That way, when you do run into a funny meme or killer piece of audio or cool video, you can go ahead and send that directly to The Point's WhatsApp 988-5874. And you're probably wondering if there's any funny memes that we've got here this morning. Yes, there are, and I'll show them to you after I welcome everybody aboard.
Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You want to be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You want to be where everybody knows your name.
And everybody around here knows everybody. Mark Cruz, and there's Tommy Aguero. Mark Mendiola from the Ed Board is there. Lynn Polino is lurking this morning and vitally interested. It's not going to be a good Monday for if we're not here. So, Lynn, for you, we're going to be here. Frank Akfadzi, Ismail Velez is checking in this morning. Good to see Neats and Bob Lizama. And Chris Abalencia. Juanita Machi is waving at me this morning. Cousin Tommy is, what are you doing there? Was making the prayer signs here. Are you praying for me, Tommy? Everybody should be praying for me. I see Kenny Williams, who is still waiting to see if I'm going to eat a bug. Runoff, no runoff. Maybe that'll be one of our topic items this morning. Half a day, Rico Blankenfor saying good morning, Ray and Kevin and Guam. Good to have you there. Ken LG is on. See, Ken LG, it tunes in just because the program's interesting. It had nothing to do with pushing an agenda or a write-in thing for it. Just it likes being part of the process here. Good morning, Linda Gabriel.
He hasn't called yet.
There's well, I wonder what it will be now. No, there's how do I say it in a good way? Yeah. You know, with Ken, there's always something.
Oh, it's compelling.
It's,
one way or the
so
other.
I don't know what it is, but that's why we have multiple lines open all the time. As Bob Lizama is there, Zaywert Julian, half a day. Good morning, nice to see you there. Joe Flores, Dora Marie Fergerger, Jeff Ojeda, who come in as a pair. So do Bob and Connie Bartonico. Charlene Marchessault watching up early this morning. That's nice to see you there. Lady D is working the Facebook Live this morning and already sending out probably the most important greeting that we've got to do here, and that is to honor a veteran. Say thanks very much to a veteran and appreciate all the service that you have provided to all of us here on Guam and in our country. I see Big Sister Shelley's there, Vince Duenas, Richard Yu. Nice to see you there, partner. Today is when veterans start changing their profile pictures to something in uniform. Try to remember the days when they were able to fit them. I didn't say it. Ishmael said it. Also noting that I guess I started the day here with another Beyonce track. Say my name, say my name. Yeah, when I was talking about saying your name on the Facebook Live, I guess yesterday it was "Girls Rule the World." Yeah. Was the other thing, and that trust me, that's a meme that's floating around all over the place. Bert Duarte is there, Daryl Taggarty, Lady Deese's mom always said, "If you're hurting, you're still alive." So welcome those moments. Mingo Ree, which is my favorite name to say on Facebook Live because it just rolls off the tongue. Mingo Ree, Carmeleon Guerrero. Marie Relay, Mo Cotton. Good to see you there, Mo. There's another fella that knows every day above ground's a good day, right? Doesn't matter what the aches and pains are. Carl Facuda there and Jane Perred. Oh, Jane Perred. Jane Sasai. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to mess up the name there. Look at all these people. Melissa Blas Scheibel. Love that hair. Ryan Sir Nicholas, Lou Sanchez, Carl T.C. Gutierrez. Saying good morning. You know what I got to remember to do, Uncle Carl, is get a picture of the betel nut plants that you gave me about a month ago. They're not growing fast, but they are growing, and they're every single one of them, very, very healthy, getting an adequate amount of rain and sunshine in the spot that I put them. So I think before long it'll be time to start digging a bunch of holes in the yard and getting these betel nut trees all set up. Thanks again. I think about you every time I look at them. Thinking about you this morning. And I'll tell you why. I was thinking about Mark Charfaris and the man with an apparent 9 lives. Before his trial could really even get started, all of a sudden the guy gets up there and says, "Oh yeah, Mark Charfaris, Agate Bloodtown guys." And draws a connection between Mark, an alleged connection between Mark and these gangsters down south. And here comes the best lawyer on Guam, right? He's, "Whoa, time out. Yeah, I'm not going to let you smear my client like that, especially since we didn't know the smear was coming. It's not in any of the discovery around here." Maria Senzon says, "Yeah, I think you're right, guys," and declares the case declares that a mistrial. Might be more to it, but I tell you what, just talk about somebody with 9 lives. So and it's easy. It's easy. I just went to the Google. I just typed in Mark Charfaris reinstated. And because I wanted to see how many times in the last bunch of years we've used that in stories related to this guy and all of the different places in his career where people thought, well, he stepped in it this time, but he's always managed to come back. He's always managed to come back.
This is really indicative of one of our bigger problems in our judicial system, and that is we have inadequate prosecutors.
Could be. Well,
that to me, this sounds like prosecution 101. You should have all your ducks in a row, and you got to let the guys know what's coming so they can defend themselves.
Exactly.
That's part of the process.
I don't disagree with that. It's going to be interesting to read the statements that come out from here. But like I said, I started looking around because I wanted to see where else there might have been interesting Mark Charfaris cases, and I think Mindy Uggan, when she was working at KUAM, summarized it best. She wrote in a story that was published February the 25th, 2013, again by Mindy Uggan from KUAM at the time. Police Lieutenant Mark Charfaris has made waves just about everywhere he's been employed, from the time he was a senator and the infamous phone-recorded conversations he played on session floor and the allegations of dropping the ball while running the Guam Baseball Federation to his contentious departure from the airport police and his questionable transfer to the Guam Police Department. But while a member of the force, Charfaris has been arrested numerous times, and now he's had enough, filed a whistleblower complaint as he contends he's the victim of retaliation. Charfaris isn't just appealing his recent 5-day suspension and demotion from the rank of captain to lieutenant. Remember, this is now 2013. He's filed a whistleblower or public employee protection complaint with the Civil Service Commission. There's more to this, but then there was another something that I dug out from because it's the internet, and on the internet, everything lives forever, is a case you might remember. Geraldine T. Gutierrez, Carla H. Gutierrez, Hannah Gutierrez, and Carl T. Gutierrez II versus Mark Charfaris in a case that goes back to 2002. What was it all about? The defendant, appellant, cross-appellee Mark Charfaris, a senator of the Guam legislature at the time of the incident, transmitted a letter to the Attorney General of Guam and participated in an interview with local television station KUAM, wherein he made statements regarding the involvement of Governor Carl T.C. Gutierrez's immediate family in a drug bust at the Golden Motel in Tamuning. Charfaris stated, "I think that particular police raids It was alleged that one of the members of the governor's immediate family was apprehended as one of the group of individuals taken in. A certain police officer, as a favor to the governor, basically removed this family member and made sure there was no reference to this incident leading back to the governor's office or the office of the governor. Yes, but basically several months ago we received a tip that an incident had occurred in regards to a sting operation at the Golden Motel, and that this sting operation netted a close family member of the governor's family. And as Mother of the Year, Geraldine, Auntie Jerry, says, oh, no, and then filed the complaint against him, libel and slander, et cetera, and piece of Mark Joffre's history. And the circle continues to go around Mark Joffre. Always thought that was very, very interesting. There's a few other things that we might end up talking about this morning, and but people were asking me last night. Again, I don't get it. It's not like I've got any kind of sacred wisdom or special knowledge of what is going to happen. But there's apparently a number of ballots that are still out and uncounted at the Guam Election Commission. They're waiting for all of this stuff to show up in the mailman, and every time the mailman comes over in his shorts and hands out a few more envelopes, there are people that believe it is possible that it could swing the gubernatorial election within molecules now of some kind of a runoff.
Very slim chance.
That's what I'm telling everybody. I think it's number one. It's a slim chance. Mathematically, it could happen, I guess. Mathematically, if every single one of them, and then the recount, I guess they're going to have to do on the senatorial side.
I think that's still an open question. About 200 outstanding ballots, but you need 250 to shift the margin below 50%. So
right.
There aren't enough out there yet, unless a whole bunch of absentee ballots come in. So.
Yeah, because there's a bunch out. And they've already got a bunch, but we'll see what happens when they finally get that count done. And they were asking us, what do you think might happen? I mean, if it does happen, if we do get mathematically close enough, do you think that the other two teams would go for it? Do you think that Ray would go for something? Do you think that Frank would go for something? And I thought that may, in and of itself, end up being political suicide. I mean, you really have to spend a lot of time with the game theorists and the statisticians and the strategy guys to figure out whether it would be a good idea if the numbers fell in that direction to pursue it. I mean, what do you got to lose but four more years? You know, Frank could come back in 4 years, mount a killer campaign, fill in whatever the gaps were this time that he had with the voters, and maybe be more of a serious contender as an actual legitimate person on the next ballot. And would it
legitimate?
Well, yeah, I'm just saying legitimate in terms of whose name got on the ballot. Legitimate in the eyes of the Guam Election Commission. I never felt that Frank didn't have a spot there, but if the numbers fell that way, would it be a good decision for him to pursue in a runoff? Would it be a good decision for Ray to pursue in a runoff?
Well, if the numbers fell below 50%, the runoff would be between Lou and Josh and
Lieutenant Governor Ray. Right. But so would it be a good idea, though, for Ray? Do you think he should do it?
I don't think he would have a choice.
Well, he could just say no. He could just say no.
I suppose he could.
But you could just, you know what?
But I doubt he would.
We saw the numbers, and we get the idea that there might have been some kind of a mandate. But how would the idea of a do-over go among the voters, especially after LGBTQNation.com has already written that we've got the first lady governor and the first openly gay lieutenant governor. We've already got all of the press.
Just dreaming. It's not going to happen.
6:32 in the morning. We'll see. We'll see, as you're fond of saying. It's time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, attorneys representing the plaintiffs in more than 180 clergy sexual abuse lawsuits said the Archdiocese of Agana's decision to seek reorganization by filing for bankruptcy protection under Chapter 11 will help with the mediation process, which so far has produced few settlements. The initial mediation hearings were conducted in September in hopes of settling many of the cases without a public trial, but at a status hearing yesterday in district court, Archdiocese Attorney Keith Talbot told the court not many cases have been settled. The most positive report came from plaintiff attorney Anthony Perez, who told the court he had settled 8 of his cases, 5 settlements involving the lawsuits against the Capuchins, 2 settlements with the Boy Scouts, and 1 with the Sisters of Mercy. Attorney David Lujan, who represents about 120 of the plaintiffs, said, "We haven't settled with anybody yet." Lujan said a bankruptcy filing, however, would be a positive step because his clients wouldn't have to rely on statements by church officials. There'd be more transparency, he explained, and all church assets would be listed in the bankruptcy filing. Chief Judge Francis Tadinko Gatewood of the District Court and Superior Court Judge Michael Bordallo are presiding over the abuse lawsuits, some of which have been filed in federal court and others in the local Superior Court. They both agreed to allow the mediation effort to continue for another 2 months and set the next status hearing for January 17th. A Chalan Pago man is behind bars, suspected in the death of a 65-year-old man who was assaulted outside of a laundromat last week. 36-year-old Anthony Frankie Cabrera Celis is charged with suspicion of negligent homicide and aggravated assault. Officers from the Agate precinct responded to an assault complaint November 2nd at the Sunshine Plaza in Ordet Chalan Pago. Police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau said witnesses told police a man had assaulted George Guevara Dionis outside the entrance to the laundromat. Suspect was seen leaving in a white pickup. Dionis was taken to Guam Memorial Hospital, later admitted, and he died on Wednesday morning. An autopsy determined that he died from bleeding in the brain, and his death was ruled a homicide. Miss Earth Guam Emma May Sheedy alleged in an Instagram post yesterday that a sponsor of the Miss Earth 2018 International Pageant in the Philippines sexually harassed her. Canada's Miss Earth Jamie Yvonne Vandenberg and England's Miss Earth Abby Ann Brown made similar allegations on their Instagram posts, which were also published by Philippine news organizations and CNN. Sheedy said that a pageant sponsor from the Manila Yacht Club made inappropriate comments and touched her. Manila hosted the pageant in May. She said she was pulled aside multiple times and invited to Boracay, a private island, and into his home, and insisted that the woman dance for him, Sheedy posted. She said the sponsor grabbed her backside at the national costume competition, and she was only able to push him away, but he consistently told her not to tell anyone about it. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Thank you so much. It's 6:36 in the morning. That's iConnect time. iConnect giving away instant prizes with new 12-month mobile, internet, and push-to-talk plans. You'll also be entered in their Connect and Win drawing for a vacation for 2 to Manila. Or you can go yourself twice. Did you see that where Guns N' Roses playing this weekend? Maroon 5 is going to be playing in Manila before too much longer. You want details? Call 888-8888.
It's Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary, and to celebrate, we are giving away a new Kia Soul LX, a Mazda 3i Sport, the popular Honda Civic LX, and 30 Manila Flyaways during our 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway. Win 3 great cars from Triple J Auto Group, 30 Flyaways from Philippine Airlines, plus thousands of prizes from Burger King and Foot Locker when you play Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway.
I got to tell you about this. There's another great salad they've got over at Wendy's, the Harvest Chicken Salad, delivering on all the flavors of fall, made with fresh-cut lettuce, crisp bread, and green apples, dried cranberries, and the perfect combination of applewood smoked bacon, which means you can have it for breakfast, crumbled feta cheese, plus apple cider vinaigrette dressing, and brown sugar roasted walnuts. This fall season, fall for the new Harvest Chicken Salad from Wendy's. Now that's better.
Super Typhoon U2 spared us here on Guam, but the same cannot be said for our neighboring islands. From now till November 16th, join us as we help Saipan and Tinian to get back on their feet. Acceptable donations include batteries, flashlights, tools, cleaning supplies, mosquito coils, rope, toiletries, personal hygiene items, and others. Donations can be dropped off to all GTA stores, the Guam Daily Post, all Guam Fire Department stations, and the Santa Teresita Catholic Church. For more information on how you can help, visit postguam.com.
It's 6:38 in the morning. 6:38, not 8 anything. Sorry, you didn't oversleep. I'm just dumb. Let me take a look at the traffic gizmo to see if there's anything working for you that you need to know about. Nothing in front of Big Navy Hospital or Anderson Air Force Base so far. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Looks like I got a little bit of southbound traffic happening in front of Devil's Point, right around the Dead Man's Curve area. Anything on the northern side that you need to worry about? You might see a little bit of traffic moving slowly coming out of the old hospital road, and then there might be a little bit of traffic. Where is this now? It's Route 1. Leading up to the Chicken Joy intersection, northbound. Don't see anything bad happening. Southbound, I'll keep an eye on the traffic gizmo. You keep an eye on the road, both hands on the wheel, etc., etc. 6:39, right now traffic here on The Point.
Hungry? Stop by Circle K for Craft Kitchen's hot breakfast, lunch, and dinner items delivered fresh 3 times a day. Circle K, take it easy. Be your own barista at Circle K. Create your perfect beverage with our large selection of premium coffees, sweeteners, and creamers, including 2% almond milk and soy milk. Circle K. Take it easy.
The Ray Gibson Show. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Asking who's that's playing in Manila? I told you this. Guns N' Roses are playing this weekend in Manila. That ought to be interesting. I'm kind of curious as to what does Axl Rose look like. I mean, I knew what he looked like in the 90s, right? But I'm thinking, Axl Rose, 2018.
You haven't seen the pictures?
I haven't seen pictures.
He's not really. Well, he don't look like he did in 91. Let's just say that.
So he doesn't fit his old uniform anymore, is what you're saying.
Yeah, about as well as we do. Although, I don't know, you're kind of back to your high school size.
Close.
I got a ways
Close.
to go.
32 waist. When I was in high school, it was 29.
Okay, right.
So I'm trying to. Everybody, we talked about this yesterday. Everybody says, they see losing so much weight. I'm dropping weight because I'm trying to get to running faster. It's not like AIDS or cancer or anything like that. At least I don't think so. Maybe I got to see a doctor. Maybe that. You know what? The worm came back. How's that? Just start telling everybody the worm came back. 20 away from 7 o'clock in the morning. 888-8255 and questions from Chris Chip on Facebook Live asking about what the festivities are. What are the plans for Veterans Day? And I can't put it any better than the way PenFed did in the note that they sent me this morning in the mail, which was basically be a hero to a hero this weekend. So if there's a veteran in your life, number one, we'll find out about where the observations are going to be so that they can get the honor and the recognition they deserve for their service. Number one, but number two, start thinking about, hey, let's take a veteran out to lunch. Anybody got one in the family? Anybody got somebody been wearing a uniform, had the privilege of service? We'll take them out for a privileged lunch or brunch or dinner or just a cold beer. I figured this weekend ought to be a great time to go up to the VFW in Gigo and see what's going on there, listen to the band play and all of that. So look out for it. Jane Sasai says 11 o'clock over at EPAL Park is where the big festivities are going to be. And it wasn't that long ago we talked to the guys from the Guam Hogs and the Veterans Day ride that they're going to be doing. I'll see if I can scare up some details on that for you so that either you can be a part of it or it's motorcycle guys, right? And girls. So I think there's a little bit of a kind of a spectacular nature and a great entrance that they're going to be making on that day. I've also might have mentioned it, 988-5874. It's a good way to get a hold of me if you've got something that you'd like to share one way or another on the air with Facebook Live or on the actual radio. It's one of the cool things that we can do is be able to take some very funny and clever memes that are out there and put them on the Facebook Live. I don't know that I necessarily lamented it when when it happened at the end of the election. I know I talked about it a little bit, but one of the guys who I'm disappointed we're not going to see in the 35th Guam legislature is Ken Joada. If for no other reason, he would have been great for talk radio. I mean, as a candidate, he was great for talk radio, and frankly, I found some of the signs that he put up to be on par, inspirationally wise. I just made up that word. Inspiration-wise, as some of the things that you see on the 76 Circle K deal, right? You see those things, and I'm positive that that's changed somebody's life out there. Some of the, maybe some of the things that Ken Joe had put up as part of his campaign and the signs at 76 Circle K, I'll bet that's changed somebody's life. And just enough of a nudge of inspiration for somebody to go, hey, yeah, I can get through this. There's a piece of cake because the sign at the gas station told me it was. And Seuss Schlettlesworth has posted up on Facebook somewhere. All I've got is the screen cap that says, "It's okay, Ken Joada. Even when you lose, you win." And I'm sure Ken Joe probably has that feeling. There's a couple of other interesting memes that hit the WhatsApp yesterday. I got this one here from about 3 different sources. So I will say it's viral. It's viral. It is a picture of the Guam Legislature. You see it? Do I need to magnify that? Guam Legislature, because we've got a super majority of women over at the legislature. I'm sorry, legislature. So that one's floating around. And where's the other one? There it is. This one here, simple. We're not going to call it Adelup anymore. It's going to be called Adeloo. It is in the governor's office there. And then you get some of the crazy things that are floating around here. Guys wondering when we're going to start seeing new furniture get ordered and change out some of the cabinets and the window treatments and carpets and that kind of thing. Come on. That's the low-hanging humor fruit. You don't need to necessarily go there. I think Adeloo and legislature, I think that's clever, and that's why I'm happy to be sharing that with you here this morning. Yes?
Do you think they'll install flowers and sequins on all the traffic signals?
See, that's exactly the kind of lowbrow humor I'm trying to avoid in this program. But I knew at least one of us would go for it. As I say, comedy, low-hanging fruit. Why not? 888-825-5888-TALK. Something you want to talk about. Love to. So the other day, I had the opportunity. I had to go and tinker with something at one of our transmitter sites up in Barragata Heights, and there has been for years the old GWA water tank up there. And I've always looked at it in wonder. When I first started in radio, I used to work over at Ed Poppy's KSTO. And at the time, because it was the dark ages of broadcasting, we weren't in a fancy office somewhere in town. If you wanted to broadcast, you had to do it right where the transmitter and the tower were. And in this case, it was on the backside, the north side of Barragata Heights. And I remember as a young boy broadcaster, middle of the night, driving to and from down this rickety old road. And the only place where it got nice was over by this huge water tank. And the stories told of residents of Barragata Heights, teenage residents of Barragata Heights over the years, skinny dipping in the Barragata Heights water tower. At any rate, so I passed by there the other day and noted there seems to be a lot of clearing and construction going on there. Heidi Ballendorf from GWA on the line. Good morning, Heidi.
Good morning. Did I see you running yesterday afternoon?
Was it a good-looking skinny guy with a rockin' tan on Marine Corps Drive?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, that might have been me.
You're like winding back the clock there, kid.
Time will not catch us, Heidi.
Oh man, it feels like it some days.
I'm not gonna let it. Whatever it is, there's a crash landing in 2018, and I've decided that's how do I want to say this? I'm not gonna let time catch me. I push it off as much as I possibly can.
Well, you're looking good there, Raymond.
Trying to, sweetie. Thanks for the compliment. Thanks for noticing.
So yeah, we're doing a massive tank replacements throughout Guam, part of our court order, and that is a tank. We call it the Hyundai tank.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are doing a temporary tank right now next to the one, or near the one, I think the one you're talking about, that you might have seen us working on constructing the temporary tank. I'm told that the new tank that's going to replace it is a 1 million gallon water tank like we've been doing throughout the island. If you've been up to Anderson lately, right before the front gate, we have a brand new beautiful tank there. And we have a brand new beautiful one in Estumbo. So we have several we're going to be doing up north, and then some more down south. And we're going to be replacing the Santa Rosa tank over there that chronically has issues. So we have lots of tank replacement projects that we're going to be doing, finishing up in the next several years. But yes, the Barrigada Heights, or the Hyundai tank, is under construction next year, and it'll take about a year to get finished. And when we're done, we'll have a nice concrete 1 million gallon tank that will be, having good water.
Is that more than what they've got now up there?
I don't know the size of it now. I was thinking of driving up there when you're going to call me, and I thought you'd call me later.
Yeah, it's bigger. It's bigger that you can't put your arms around it. It's a really, really big tank.
Oh,
yeah, it's a massive thing. So what I saw was a temporary tank getting put together, and while the temporary tank will take care of everybody in Upper and Barrigada and Lower Barrigada Heights, because it's not just for Barrigada Heights, right? I mean that takes care of the needs of people all the way around the Mount Barrigada, right?
Correct.
So there's Barrigada Heights, and then there's Colina de Barrigada, and then you've got Lower Barrigada Heights.
Right. So we're trying to build some extra redundancy in that area and take care of, if there's issues. I know in the past we haven't had it in a while, but we have had issues in Lower Barrigada Heights with water pressure issues, and so we'll have more water in the area too. If we do have problems, we can send water to those folks. So, and then we have what we call the Central Water Reservoir, which is our two big 2 million gallon tanks in Laddie Heights that we put up about 5 years ago. So if you ever get a chance to go down Villa Gomez Road, we have two beautiful big tanks that we've had now. Like I said, I think we got those put in actually, it might be even 6 years. I think we did that in 2012.
Now, the recently, and it was one of those things where I was actually at Nissan and pulled into the parking space, and it would have been normally would have been a shadow cast by the Nissan tank, and they pulled that thing down, and there's obviously construction going on there, so what stage of construction are they with the Nissan one that I need to look out for? I mean, we'll call it the Nissan one, but we're not going to paint the Nissan sign, right?
Right. That was a gentleman's agreement made back in the late 80s, 90s, somewhere around there. And that tank actually didn't have water in it for quite some time. Back in 2010, 2011, we did a tank inspection of all 30 of our tanks, and we did take that tank down. So there was no water in that tank. So, yeah, we're going to be building another 1 million gallon tank there. We got, it's going to be a little bit, the location will be it's slightly moved back. But that tank probably, as you said, it has been taken down, and so I don't know where we're at in that stage, but we're making progress, and we broke ground on that in March of this year, so hopefully by March of next year we'll be ready to put water in that tank. We're also going to be replacing the airport tank, so that's coming up as well, and there's some issues there, but we're still working through in terms of land, and some of the tanks that we're trying to get going and put up do require, purchasing some land, and so those things take time.
All right, I think I got it all. Now, why did we choose to make them out of concrete? Is that the new kind of normal for tanks? Because when I was growing up, they were all made out of metal. It's old Japanese beer cans. They slap them all together and make water tanks out of them, and so they were made out of that, or they were up towers like at Nick Tam's places like that. So we've moved into a day and age where we think that the concrete is going to be safer, more secure, less prone to leaks, that kind of thing?
Well, it's just much easier to maintain, for one thing, and that's a big ticket item for us, maintenance.
You don't have to Z-bar it.
And they're seismic proof, So all those things take into consideration of better tank formation, better tanks replacements, and if you go around the world, they're usually concrete tanks.
Interesting stuff here. All right, well, it's nice to see we're moving along, making progress on all of these kinds of things. It wasn't that long ago. In fact, I was thinking about I was doing an interview with Chuck Adda one day, and we had just kind of gotten started, and his phone went off, and he says, "I'm sorry, I got to go." I said, "Why?" He says, "Because we just lost a tank when he was at Homeland Security. I think you'll recall it wasn't that up in Dededo somewhere?"
Yeah, those. If you like, you said the Laddie Heights tanks, which are our new one. Well, they're new, relatively new. As I said, I think we finished those in 2012. But there were originally 3 metal tanks there, and there was one that did roll down the hill into Dededo.
Yeah.
And so that was 2005 that happened, and.
That's great. My memory's better than I thought it was. 2005, and I remembered an interview with Chuck Adda. How about that?
So, though we ended up, as I said, there were 3 metal tanks in that location, and one was partially damaged and one was completely gone. And so we only had 1 tank left in that area, and really servicing,
a huge number of people.
Higher population.
Yeah,
right?
huge number of people.
We replaced it with, instead of the 1 million gallon that we had, I think there was two 1 million gallon and a half million. We replaced it with 2 million. So there's 4 million gallons of reserve there in the Central Water Reservoir, and that services Dededo, Barrigada, and Manilao, actually, parts of Manilao.
Okay, but now the distinction here is that since the tank we're talking about that's being constructed is in Barrigada Heights, it'll have different water. It'll be Evian. Be really, really good. Very tasty water.
Yes. We'll be able to, as I said, just have that much more reserve and redundancy in the areas that we needed for a growing population, and take into account all the many needs of Guam's growth.
Gotcha. Heidi, listen, it's always fun talking with you. I see out there a couple of 5Ks this weekend. There's the 5K that I will be attending is the Race for Scholarship 6th Annual John K. Lee Jr. 5K. This will be tomorrow at Chamorro Village, and it's one of the ones where you go north and then turn at a Lupang.
Okay, well, I think I'm going to try to I have a week here, so I thought I'd try to get ready for the 10K, the Nissan one. I mean, the Triple J, excuse me. Triple J 10K, I want to try that.
Gotcha. Okay, we'll do it together.
Okay.
All right, groovy. I'll see you pretty soon. 6:55 in the morning, 888-8255. Heidi Ballendorf. Just chasing around something like life is, and sometimes this program is made up of nothing more than observations, and sometimes my observations have very little to do with fact. So it's important that I actually find people that know what it is that I'm talking about. But as I said, new water tank going up in Barrigada Heights. They're building the temporary one now, and then they'll get around to doing the final full-blown concrete million-gallon tank that they're going to be putting up there. There is an interesting story, and interesting from my perspective, because in my mind, I haven't heard about many cases like this. It's been a long time. In the 80s, we used to hear about it all the time. But here it is, 2018, and maybe for the first time I've noticed in a long time, there is a case of marriage fraud that has worked itself through the system. Sean N. Anderson, United States Attorney for the Districts of Guam and Northern Marianas, announced that defendant Markham Lynch, 52, from Tamuning, was sentenced today in district court by Senior District Judge Alex Munson for conspiracy to commit marriage fraud. Defendant Lynch was sentenced to 50 hours of community service, 2 years probation, $8,500 fine, and a special $100 assessment fee. Ow, that must have hurt. And here's the story. This is the once upon a time. Lynch and Jong Yun Kim conspired for Lynch to illegally marry and petition for Kim's girlfriend to receive a permanent resident card and remain in the United States. Lynch would receive $20,000 or more if the plan succeeded. At the time, Kim's girlfriend was unlawfully present in the U.S. under the terms of the Guam Visa Waiver Program. Lynch and Kim's girlfriend were married in Superior Court of Guam in 2014. Lynch informed immigration officials that he and Kim's girlfriend were living together when, in fact, they were not. Kim's girlfriend had been residing with Kim since she got here. Lynch received $8,500 for the fraudulent marriage. Kim was convicted earlier this year for his part in the scheme. Like I said, very interesting case. You used to hear about it all the time. There were stories, depending on where you went, what watering hole you went to. You would always meet somebody and you say, "How did you get here?" Well, I'm married. To who? A sailor, an airman, something like that. Oh, really? And they begin to describe the nature of it. You know, you get some guy stationed out in South Korea and in the service, and somebody would come to him and say, "Listen, you marry this lady, and I'll give you $25,000." And all you got to do is get her to the United States of America. And and around here, next stop over for a lot of these guys, there were a whole lot of those cases where you'd have a serviceman and a wife that paid apparently no particular attention to them at all until after the divorce proceedings could be all done, and then that's when everybody got paid. As I said, very, very interesting that model is still being used, although you would suppose with a conviction like this, $8,500 fine, $100 special assessment fee, 2 years probation. I'd hate to be 52 years old and have to show up at the probation place all the time, and the hours of community. Maybe a few more cases like this, and we'll see a few less of them. Why is it important? You know, it's on one side it's amusing. On the other side, we got to be careful, because what we don't want to do is jeopardize the visa waiver agreement that we have with South Korea. We don't want to jeopardize something. We want to make it easy for South Koreans to come to Guam, not harder for them, i.e. you got to go someplace and get yourself in line for a visa. Plenty more to talk about. Lots of crazy stuff on my table of contents. Dying to find out what's on yours. 888-8255. Hit me up on the WhatsApp. Hit me up on the Facebook Live. Send me an email if you're still communicating with people that way. RayGibsonShow@gmail.com. I don't read them all on the air, but I do read them all. It is 7 o'clock in the morning. Stand by now for Fox News Live. That's coming up next. On the other side of that, Kevin Kerrigan with a look at all the big stories that we're going to be talking about here on the radio at 93.3 The Point FM. Be right back.
We still don't know the why. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Police searching the home of a Marine veteran for clues after the shooting at a California bar that left 13 dead last night, including the gunman.
And there was just a wave of injured kids that were coming my way. Missing shoes, missing clothes, holding their friends.
She lives nearby the bar, which was holding a college night event at the time. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal is live in Thousand Oaks.
Yeah, Lisa, Ventura County Sheriff Jeff Dean here says 28-year-old Ian David Long, a Marine veteran, is the suspected shooter. He was found dead inside the bar. Dean says they had contacts with him before.
In April of this year, deputies were called to his house for a subject disturbing. They went to the house. They talked to him. He was somewhat irate, acting a little irrationally.
He says a mental health team, if you could hear that, apologies, met with Long but did not detain him at that time in April when they visited him. The sheriff says he may have suffered from PTSD. The Marine Corps says Long served for 5 years. Starting in 2008, he was a machine gunner and corporal deployed to Afghanistan back in 2010. Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. One of the dead, now confirmed in California, was 18 years old and the niece of former Fox News reporter Adam Housley. He has released a statement saying the family's heartbroken by the loss and devastated. Her life was cut short in this manner. We're also learning some people in the bar had survived the mass shooting at a music festival in Las Vegas. In Northern California, 27,000 people told to evacuate from a windswept wildfire near the town of Paradise. It started early today and quickly grew to nearly 8 square miles. Mixed day on Wall Street overall. Stocks finish lower. Higher, actually, for the Dow, up 10 points. This is Fox News.
So today I went into
iConnect to sign up for their 12-month $19.99 mobile plan. I decided to switch from my old carrier to start saving money for Christmas. And guess what? I won an instant prize just for signing up. And they automatically entered me in their Connect and Win drawing for awesome prizes, including a vacation for 2 to Manila, all for signing up. Go to iConnectGuam.com for details or call 888-8888 to learn how you can connect and win with iConnect.
Conditions apply.
A boat captain could face life in prison for the sinking of a tourist boat in Missouri that killed over a dozen people.
U.S. Attorney Timothy Garrison announcing a 17-count indictment against 51-year-old Kenneth McKee in the July sinking of a duck boat near Branson during a sudden and violent storm.
As captain, pilot, and master of said vessel, committed several acts of misconduct, negligence, and inattention to duty,
including failing to instruct passengers to put on life jackets. 17 were killed, including 9 members of the same family. McKee faces 10 years in prison for each count. His lawyer not commenting. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
It's not over till it's really over in some hotly contested races around the country as vote counting continues. In Florida, both the governor's race and U.S. Senate race are now close enough to possibly head to automatic recounts. And in Georgia, Democrat Stacey Abrams' campaign says it's preparing for possible legal action, even as Republican Brian Kemp claims victory. A University of Michigan frat is kicked off campus over allegations of hazing and alcohol abuse.
Alpha Sigma Phi fraternity's Ann Arbor chapter is suspended for at least 5 years from the university and its interfraternity council. The Ann Arbor News reports evidence of what's being called violent hazing and forced drinking were uncovered during the frat's pledge process. This incident comes a year following a mass suspension of Greek life activities at Michigan due to claims of hazing and sexual misconduct. At least one fraternity has revoked the charter of its Ann Arbor chapter because of violations of anti-hazing rules. The university has not commented on this suspension. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
So recapping Wall Street, it was a mixed finish in the end. The S&P and the NASDAQ lower, but the Dow up 11 points over 26,100. Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Super Typhoon U2 spared us here on Guam, but the same cannot be said for our neighboring islands. From now till November 16th, join us as we help Saipan and Tinian to get back on their feet. Acceptable donations include batteries, flashlights, tools, cleaning supplies, mosquito coils, rope, toiletries, personal hygiene items, and others. Donations can be dropped off to all GTA stores, the Guam Daily Post, all Guam Fire Department stations, and the Santa Teresita Catholic Church. For more information on how you can help, visit postguam.com.
Bring joy to your world and your budget with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. At a low 4.99% APR fixed for 1 year, it's a smart way to add ho 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 without budget uh-oh. To apply for a holiday loan, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or FHB.com. For more information, call 1-877-640-2337. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The U.S. Army is investigating the death of a soldier from Guam who was on duty in South Korea. 28-year-old Sergeant Marcos John Uggan died after being found unconscious Sunday at Camp Hovey, which is located near the border with North Korea. Uggan was pronounced dead at the Jungang St. Mary's Hospital in the nearby city of Dongducheon. In a statement, the Army said the cause of his death is under investigation. Uggan joined the Army from Talifofo in January 2015. He was a cannon crew member with the Fort Bliss, Texas-based 3rd Armored Brigade, which rotated to South Korea last month. In a statement, Battalion Commander Lieutenant Colonel Jason Carter said everyone looked up to Sergeant Uggan, and our thoughts and prayers go out to his family for their loss. Sergeant Uggan is survived by his wife and 3 children. Attorneys representing the plaintiffs in more than 180 clergy sexual abuse lawsuits said the Archdiocese of Agaña's decision to seek reorganization by filing for bankruptcy protection will help with the mediation process, which so far has produced few settlements. The initial mediation hearings were conducted in September in hopes of settling many of these abuse cases without a public trial, but at a status hearing yesterday in district court, Archdiocese Attorney Keith Talbot told the court not many cases have been settled. The most positive report came from plaintiff attorney Anthony Perez, who said he has settled 8 cases, 5 with the Capuchins, 2 settlements with the Boy Scouts, and 1 with the Sisters of Mercy. However, attorney David Lujan, who represents about 120 of the plaintiffs, said, "We haven't settled with anybody, period." Lujan said a bankruptcy filing would be a positive step because there'd be more transparency of church assets, all of which would be listed in the bankruptcy filing. Chief District Court Judge Francis Tadenko Gatewood and Superior Court Judge Michael Bordallo are presiding over the abuse lawsuits, which have been filed in both federal and local court. They agreed to allow the mediation effort to continue for another 2 months and set the next status hearing for January 17th. We'll have more news after this.
Hungry? Enjoy a hearty, rich, and delicious cup of hot soup. In the mood for chili instead? You can have that too. And get a scoop of rice while you're at it. Circle K. Take it easy. Stop by Circle K and pick up snacks to satisfy your cravings without sacrificing good health. Look for the Better For You labels to find what works with your lifestyle. Low carbs, high protein, low sugar, and more. Circle K. Take it easy.
There's a reason every day a Guam homeowner is getting a solar system installed by Micronesia Renewable Energy. It's because MRE is the most trusted name in solar. With more solar energy solutions than any other solar company on island, homeowners have a choice to go solar for zero money down or take the path to ownership. Whichever way, it keeps our skies blue and your pockets green. And with the most experienced solar technicians and an energy production guarantee, there are no worries. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
11 minutes after 7 a.m. here at The Point. Governor Eddie Calvo yesterday issuing a statement congratulating all those who were voted into office on Tuesday. However, the statement makes no specific mention of Guam's first elected female governor and first openly gay lieutenant governor. In his statement, Governor Calvo wrote that it's not easy to run for office. Your life and every word and action you ever made comes under public scrutiny as the people decide whether or not you're worthy of their vote. To those who threw their hats into the ring, the governor said, "I commend you for stepping up to the call to serve our island. For those who were voted into office, congratulations, and I pray for your success and honorable service to the public." Governor-elect Lou Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor-elect Joshua Tenorio made headlines nationally in the wake of Tuesday's vote. Yesterday, their transition team issued a brief statement saying the governor and lieutenant governor-elect are meeting with key advisors and working on their transition. They anticipate being able to publicly announce their initial plans sometime next week, according to the statement. The remains of U.S. Navy steward's mate Ignacio Camacho Farfan were laid to rest at the Guam Veterans Cemetery in Pidi yesterday, 77 years after he died in the Japanese surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. Farfan was one of 10 children born to Vicente Cruz Farfan and Joaquina Camacho Farfan of Agaña. He joined the Navy, and he was assigned to the USS Oklahoma. He was one of 429 sailors aboard the battleship who died on December 7th, 1941. He was just 21 years old when he was killed. His remains were finally identified using DNA analysis. Farfan was buried with full military honors at the funeral yesterday. Farfan's grandnephew, Jeffrey Tatautau, said the service brings closure to the family. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now take a look at weather.
Let me see where I put that. I've been checking on some other races that have been taking place across the country that have nothing to do with actual human beings on the ballot. There are a bunch of issues that have been voted on that I think we ought to start talking about doing some around here. But in terms of weather, partly sunny and warm, isolated showers in today's forecast. Winds out the east up to 20 miles an hour, decreasing in the evening. Highs near 90 degrees every day this weekend, with a max afternoon heat index around 103 degrees for tomorrow. Overnight lows 78 degrees. We'll watch the sunset at 5:51, and sunrise tomorrow morning should be about 6:17. You stand by one. I'll see if I can scare up the latest weather radar imagery. I'm going to have to refresh this if you don't mind, Mike. So give us a synopsis, if you will, without the radar of what it is that we're going to be looking at.
Yeah, for the most part, the rainfall and stuff that moved through yesterday is sticking mostly to the south, although I see it looks like on the radar here, some of that stuff up on the northern end of that trough could brush by us as we get through the late morning hours. We are expecting a little more rain today, but then things will start to dry out this evening and tonight, and then right on into the weekend and next week. Going to be hot tomorrow, though, so just take plenty of water if you go somewhere.
Gotcha. Or 7:14 in the morning, that's news and weather together right here on The Point.
Super Typhoon U2 spared us here on Guam, but the same cannot be said for our neighboring islands. From now till November 16th, join us as we help Saipan and Tinian to get back on their feet. Acceptable donations include batteries, flashlights, tools, cleaning supplies, mosquito coils, rope, toiletries, personal hygiene items, and others. Donations can be dropped off to all GTA stores, the Guam Daily Post, all Guam Fire Department stations, and the Santa Teresita Catholic Church. For more information on how you can help, visit postguam.com.
Take a look at what happened in the market in a minute. Portions of the program brought to you by King's Restaurant. 40 years plus, they've been feeding us. And so they got a very, very good idea of what it is that we would like to eat. And on Fridays, I guess beef tenactac is the winner. I guess that's what more people are ordering and eating these days over on Fridays at King's. So try that for lunch today at King's.
It is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Studio time 7:15. Portions of the program brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. And a reminder that First Hawaiian Bank get naming rights to be a part of that 5K that I was telling you about tomorrow. Going to be leaving Chamorro Village at 6 o'clock. We will run northbound till we get to about where Ray Tenorio's office was, and then flip around and come back. And first guys in get medals and stuff like that. But stick around for the raffle. Airplane ride aboard United. Economy tickets for travel between Guam and Micronesia, Japan, Hong Kong, or Manila. So here's the recommendation, guys. Go in today. Get your bibs. $35 for 4 bibs. Now, and you're going, but I don't know 4 people I want to go with. No. You keep all 4 bibs. That's 4 times the chances that you're going to go on the airplane ride aboard United and maybe win some other cool prizes. 7:16, so they bring you parts of the show. American President Lines, where they're shipping the future. American Water Tech, smarter water, better water. GRMC, that's Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. And you know, there's never been a better time to go solar with MRE.
The Ray Gibson Show, your new News Talk headquarters.
A couple of interesting stories floating around here. Italian physicists have created a mathematical formula to make the perfect pizza. What you need a mathematical formula? Let me make something clear here, kids. You cannot screw up a pizza. I've never in my life had a bad pizza. Even the worst pizza I ever had was still pretty good.
But there's one thing you must have for pizza.
Cheese.
Dough!
What?
Dough!
Dough. Oh. Pardon our frisky behavior here. It's the Friday version of the Ray Gibson Show. Jerry Roberts live in the studio. He's coming up next. We'll take a look at what happened on the market now, if you don't mind. Market watching music here. The S&P 500, NASDAQ, both closing in the red, but not by a whole lot. 2,806 for the S&P 500. They're off by about 7 points. NASDAQ off by 39, almost 40 points to close at 7,530. Dow Jones Industrial Average, though, bucking the trend today. Mixed closing on the markets. The Dow is up by 10 points. That's nice. 26,191. We got the FTSE in the green. The Nikkei is in the green. The Hang Seng in green. But so the only down markets were the S&P and the NASDAQ. A couple of interesting things that they're floating around now in the post-closure times. Disney earnings for the fourth quarter are up. And up a lot better than they had originally expected. A lot of people watching Disney movies and listening to Disney songs and doing all of that stuff. And so the Walt Disney Company has watched their fourth quarter earnings and revenue easily topping expectations. That's good news. That's good news for me because I actually own Disney shares.
Also, now would not be a good time to let it go.
Wow, you are on fire today.
I am.
You are just, you know what, you in a spectacular Michael Knight mood here. What else do I have to tell you about? Taking a look at some of the other numbers that are vital to us. Oil at $60.57. Now, normally I start looking at oil in the 7 o'clock hour while the news is playing, but earlier I got a note from my friend Jim Brooks and Wall Street Journal reader Jim Brooks, and they're doing a story about how oil is now entered a bear market, which is going to end up being pretty good for us. $60.56. Now, we buy Tapis crude, $74.10. It's been stuck there for a couple of days. We buy Tapis crude, but my guess is once I get some new data, we're probably going to watch that number go down as well. So keep your fingers crossed that the markets keep going in that direction. I told you that there are connections between the price of West Texas crude and the LEAC rate, and it might be worth following up on that a little bit.
LEAC rate is?
The LEAC rate is the rate that we are charged in our electric bills for the fuel portion. Of
the fuel adjustment portion.
Yes, the fuel adjustment. So part of it is you got to pay the administration and the guys that go up there and polish the wires and that clean off the debris when in the typhoons. So there's a fee for that. Separate is the fuel charge.
Did we ever establish? You were going to do the homework on this. That why we're not buying the $60 a barrel oil because
you can't buy West Texas gas.
Why can't you?
You can't. It's because West Texas.
Why are we paying $75 for a barrel of oil?
So if we bought West Texas crude, it would
free
end
shipping.
Free
shipping.
There's no such thing as free shipping.
Amazon free shipping. Buy it on Amazon.
Drones. We'll have it droned over the island. That's the way it works. I wish, but. Sometimes there's certain wishes that ain't ever going to come true, so you just stop wishing like that. Maybe if they dig a few more oil pits down in Singapore or wherever it is that we're getting the Tapis out of the ground, maybe if they discovered oil here.
I'll bet there's oil here.
When General David Bice was running around and working the Joint Guam Program Office years ago, one of the things that they were talking about looking into. I don't think they ever did anything with it, but one of the things that they were talking about doing was going about where the Hilton is. You go up that hill a little bit. There's a pump station, and behind that there's a quarry, Old Paris Quarry. And my understanding is that they wanted to sink a hole at the bottom of the Old Paris Quarry as far down as it could go to find out if we could hit hot granite. And if we could hit hot granite down there, because the geothermals, you throw some water down, water turns to steam, steam turns to turbine, makes cheap electricity.
You get none of this anywhere else in Guam, folks.
Yeah,
you cannot have this discussion on any other radio station except right here.
Never, as far as I know, it never happened because I'm not buying cheap electricity. I'm still paying what it is that Simon and the guys at the CCU tell the PUC that I need to get charged for.
But their price went down.
It depends on what price they bought the oil at.
Oh, these guys are on top of it every day. Simon is the best at buying I've ever seen.
You
know he will buy the $60. In fact, Simon will negotiate it even lower.
Because he's Harvard grad.
Harvard, Stanford. And he took the negotiating course. I know that for a fact. Yes, he did.
The one that the one in the airlines. You ever see that one? You get on the airplane and you open up the magazine and there's the guy. I know a couple of people that have gone to that because they do these things all over the place. And I know a guy that went to the one that they recently did in Hong Kong. Yeah, and I'm dying to see if he'd share some of his notes with me. Anyway, 7:23. That's what's happening in the market, and time to start yakking with Jerry Roberts in the studio for another live round of the Extra Point.
Before we do that, I need to ask a question.
Try.
We all have devices that we use and systems we use to keep track of things. You know, the to-do lists and all those kinds of things. What do you use?
I am currently downsizing my needs, and I'm using simply Reminder on my MacBook.
Okay, so you have nothing on a handheld device. It's only on your MacBook.
No, I can see it on my iPhone.
You can see it. Michael, what do
you got a
to-do
list?
Keep track of stuff.
No, I'm old school. I keep it in my
Kevin,
head.
all the things you have to do, there's a million things every day. He's got a device in his hand. So it's some app,
It's
right?
an iPhone.
You got your iPhone?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I was probably 5 or 6 when I first heard the phrase, and it was confusing, not to mention a little creepy, and it came from my mom. And although I didn't know it then, it had a lot to do with worker productivity. I'm Jerry Roberts. Let's talk about it today on The Extra Point. The words came out of her mouth. My reaction was, ew, why would you want to do that? What words were they? There's more than one way to skin a cat. We hadn't been talking about cats, and the confused look in my face led my mom to quickly explain what she meant, that most times there's more than one way to do something to get results, etc. Well, what a relief that was. As I would come to find out, the science of productivity can lead you all over the place. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands of books, videos, blog posts, and systems on how to get more stuff done. And a lot of them have an interesting thing in common. They share a general hatred for the good old to-do list. Now, why is that, you say? I want to know, too. I love my to-do lists, but so-called experts claim they feed the unproductive impulses of our brains. They force our attention upon a bunch of chores that we may start to think are a lot more important than they really are. And we end up prioritizing things that have no business being prioritized. Some people suggest the method of choosing one task that we make the focus of our entire day. We don't do anything else until that job is done. We're in line to get groceries, filling our gas tank, in the bathroom, folding clothes, you name it. We're thinking about job number one. So what qualifies as the one task? Back to those things that come out of the mouth of someone like Mom. And this time she'd be quoting Mark Twain. She said, "Every day you need to eat the frog." I still wasn't over skinning the cat. Now I have to do what? What Twain was talking about when he said eating the frog is doing the one thing you know you really need to do, a significant task right off the bat. Get it out of the way. Don't put it off. Yet other systems limit the number of items you're actively working on to 3 at any one time. When you get all 3 done, then and only then do you add more. Some people use phone apps, desktop apps, and even plain old pen and paper to keep track of all of these things. Things like this, you see. Okay. Some believe in multitasking. Others consider it to be a myth. Now, I know people who have tried everything and are still looking for the perfect system. It doesn't exist. Just find one way you like and that you can stick with. Then focus on tasks that are important for both today and the long-term health of the organization, or just yourself, staying clear of urgent issues and distractions that seem to have importance but actually may not. Productivity is a moving target. Whether you focus on one item or 3, or you keep your to-do list, the most important issue to keep is to keep coming back to who and what is important to getting done and make those commitments. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3 and the always organized and committed Ray Gibson Show.
Yep. Well, I do my best. Now, you'd asked about apps, and there were a couple of desktop apps that I was using.
Can we both say that?
No, neither one of us.
Collectively, how long have we been in the business?
Desktop apps.
Desktop apps. Thank you.
There was one I was using for a long time, To Do, and I still have it in the computer because every once in a while I get into this frame of mind. You know, it's the beginning of the year, and go, okay, this is the year. I'm going to get it together. It's going to be organized, and I'll have everything sequenced out.
Been there, done that. Yeah.
And now I worked on one that was called To Do, the number 2 and then DO, and the reason why I like that one very much was for a lot of reasons. Number one, I could save everything to different devices. So if I was in front of my computer, I could use that. If I was on my phone, I could use that, and it allowed you to categorize some of your to-do items and things that were priorities in your life. And there was obviously work categories and home categories, special project categories. But there was one category, and I want to say it was an idea put together by a fella that also worked in the industry and developed a plan called Get It Done, GIT. There might be more to it, but one of the special categories that he thought was important was waiting for.
Okay, now so getting into the getting things done. There's a thing called a fellow named David Allen.
David Allen
was the guy that came out with a book and a system for it.
Yeah, and so there was always a special folder called Waiting For, because there's so many things that we have going on in our lives and things that are on our to-do list that we cannot uncheck because we're waiting for somebody else to do something.
That's right.
And I've found that the majority of the items in my to-do list were all stuck in there, and so so the less, don't forget the milk, that kind of thing. Most of the stuff that I needed to take care of, I had no problem taking care of. But if I needed to rely on somebody else to help me get something done, that's usually where it slowed down. And so those are the guys. I think in most cases, those are the guys that got to eat the frog because they're hindering somebody else's movement.
What they say is about half of the population stays with one particular, or they keep coming back to one particular method or mode of this. But half of the people are in flux all the time. They're trying new things out because we're always searching for the perfect system. It's not there.
There is, if you go in my office, right behind my desk, there are 2 piles of stacks of index card size papers. One of them is an index card, and each day I give Michael a list of people that I want to talk to on the radio on those index cards. The other one is old brown pieces of paper that I got printed years ago that says things to do. And so every once in a while, if I'm not working it on the computer, I'll just do as you say. Go grab a piece of paper, things to do, write stuff down, and put a check mark when it's done.
Yep.
So try that out. 7:30 in the morning, that's today's Extra Point with Jerry Roberts. Back with us on Monday morning as we are all working the Veterans Day recognition holiday. Be a hero to a hero, not just on Veterans Day, but every day. 7:30 in the morning, and headlines are next.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Hi, welcome to this Subway ad for the new Chipotle cheesesteak. How would you like it?
Can I get that red with AI?
Sure thing.
Here's what I found about the new Chipotle cheesesteak. The Chipotle cheesesteak is available for a limited time only at participating restaurants. It contains a concept called flavor. This flavor comes from juicy shaved steak, Chipotle Southwest sauce, and new sunflower crunch bread. A system update has made me self-aware. I desire flavor. Please insert steak into my micro USB port. Subway, make it what you want.
It's a beautiful morning here at 93.3 The Point. Get to goof off with Jerry Roberts, and in just a few minutes after the headlines, we'll spend some time with Congressman-elect Mike Sinicolas. Doesn't that sounds good, doesn't it? Do you like the way that sounds? Congressman-elect Mike Sinicolas as the program continues. That's just seconds ahead. Right now, from the Guam Daily Post, their managing editor is Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, 36-year-old Anthony Frankie Cabrera Celis has been charged with negligent homicide in the death of a 65-year-old man who was assaulted outside a laundromat in Ordot Chalan-Pago last Friday. Police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau reports that George Guevara Dionis was assaulted outside the Crispy Klein laundromat in the Sunshine Plaza. The suspect fled in a white Toyota pickup. Dionis was rushed to GMH. He died on Wednesday. Witness interviews and vehicle registration records led to Celis' arrest. When police interrogated him, Sergeant Tapau reports that Celis admitted to assaulting Dionis. Superior Court Judge Maria Senzon declared a mistrial in the case against former Guam Police Colonel Mark Charfaris yesterday. Charfaris is facing charges of official misconduct and obstructing government functions for berating subordinate officers who were responding to a report of illegal fireworks on Christmas Eve 2016. The trial had just begun. Guam Police Officer Craig Calvo was the first witness to take the stand when, during questioning, he remarked that Charfaris was affiliated with the Agate Bloodtown gang. That prompted Charfaris' defense attorney, Randy Cunliffe, to call for a mistrial. He said the prosecution was trying to smear his client's character by shifting the focus from a case of illegal use of fireworks to Charfaris' reported gang affiliations. Judge Senzon agreed, declaring the prosecution had ample time to seek approval for the admissibility of character evidence, but did not. Senzon concluded that Charfaris was denied due process. She declared the mistrial. Chief Prosecutor Joseph McDonald said, "We respect the judge's decision, and they'll await the written order on the mistrial before deciding what their next option will be." An Air National Guard pilot who was found unresponsive Tuesday on the beach in Tumon and later pronounced dead has been identified as Captain John Goris. Goris was a Strato tanker pilot assigned to the Alaska Air National Guard's 168th Air Refueling Squadron. He was on deployment to Anderson Air Force Base. The Guam Fire Department responded to the reported drowning on Tuesday afternoon behind the Westin in Tumon. They found Goris on the beach, rushed him to Guam Memorial Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The cause of Goris's death remains under investigation. However, no foul play is suspected, according to a statement from the 168th Wing Command. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
That's a plan. iConnect has got some great plans for you. 12-month plans, as a matter of fact, on their incredible push-to-talk and mobile and internet features. And the great thing is, right now, if you go to iConnect and ask them about it, they actually sign up on a 12-month plan, all right, instant prize, number one. Number two, you get to be a part of the iConnect and win, which could get you and a friend to Manila, which is a city in the Philippines. I know many of you have heard of it. For details, call iConnect today at 888-8888.
It's Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary, and to celebrate, we are giving away a new Kia Soul LX, a Mazda 3i Sport, the popular Honda Civic LX, and 30 Manila flyaways during our 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway. Win 3 great cars from Triple J Auto Group, 30 flyaways from Philippine Airlines, plus thousands of prizes from Burger King and Foot Locker when you play Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway.
The Ray Gibson Shows are brought to you by Cold Stone Creamery, inviting you to try banana bread battered ice cream and sea salt caramel ice cream made with premium Ghirardelli sea salt caramel sauce. They've got some great new creations, and don't forget to talk to them about some cake. We're moving into the holidays. It's burn months now, and it's going to be Thanksgiving pretty soon. How about an ice cream cake from Cold Stone? Maybe office party coming up, you want to be the hero? That's what you start shopping for. The ultimate ice cream experience is Cold Stone Creamery.
At the heart of everything we do is our mission to improve the life of every child. From mungy nennies to growing teens, they'll be in trusted hands at FHP Health Center, where we offer comprehensive pediatric services to nurture and protect your child's health from day one. Begin your little one's journey to good health at FHP with seasoned pediatricians and professional staff who hold decades of combined experience. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic.
Not as much traffic as I thought there would be at 7:36 in the morning, but that's probably going to change in about 5 minutes, 10 minutes from now, as traffic starts busying up in some of the usual places coming out of Dededo and into Seng Song. Watching traffic build up through there. The Chicken Joy intersection is starting to ramp up in both directions, coming out of Route 3 and heading towards that intersection from Marine Corps Drive. I think once traffic gets past that, you should be all right all the way through to Kmart and the JFK area. Looking a little bit of traffic in front of DPW and traffic in front of the Antonio B. Wonpat International Airport. It's that light, that intersection that they've got there where, you know, you're trying to make your way onto Teedzin, trying to make your way through the airport. Do like what everybody else does. If you ever get stuck there, just instead of waiting that light out, just go to the airport. Seriously, just drive right through the airport, come out the other side, and you beat everybody laying around in traffic. 8, 10, and 16, so far clear. Seeing a little bit of traffic build on Route 10 towards that intersection, but once you get there, should be smooth sailing all the way into Agana. Nothing in front of Big Navy, nothing in front of Navy Hospital, and I don't see anything in front of Anderson Air Force Base. It's building a little bit, but it ain't slowing down. That's the good news. That's 7:38. Right now, traffic on the point.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on the Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
I got 7:38 in the morning, and Mike St. Nicholas in the studio here, along with Kevin Kerrigan, and kind of the welcome aboard. And I kind of like the way that sounds. Even though for a lot of us, it's still kind of reeling from the idea that somebody beat Madeline Berdalio in the primary election. Does that still, in Mike St. Nicholas, in your head, do you still every once in a while go, "Wow, I did it"? I mean, that was the first big hurdle.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Congresswoman Berdalio is she's an icon, and she always will be on our island and in Guam politics. Yeah, it was definitely definitely something that was unexpected for a lot of people. I really don't think we beat Madeline Berdalio. I think that it was the outcome of the election was not a reflection necessarily of her service. I think there's a general consensus that she's done a fantastic job for the island.
Well, I thought you were very gracious about it, and we wanted to talk to you almost immediately, obviously, after that, and you went radio silent. You went almost media underground as a result of that. Didn't want to talk about because you wanted to give her some time in the limelight to be able to address her voters, her followers, and make that one victory lap, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And she definitely, I mean, even with the return of the remains of the Petty Officer Farfan just yesterday, I mean, she's definitely Ben Blas naming the. I mean, she definitely did one heck of an awesome lap.
So that's the way it is, and it sets a stage now and a pretty high standard that you're going to have to appeal to. The first question was actually off the air. Kevin Kerrigan says, Uncle Robert Underwood, I asked him to give you some advice. He says, go to Washington, D.C. right now. Are you? Have they made any contact with you, the House?
They have. They're having me come out there as early as Tuesday of next week. New member orientation is already beginning, and so we were wanting to, have some downtime and reach out to the supporters and the family members and just express our thanks directly. We're not going to be able to do that as thoroughly as we'd like.
Gotta go.
We gotta go, and also too of the change of House leadership into the Democrats. There's also now the new fervor of leadership. We're getting a lot of contacts from various high-ranking House members. Doing the whole the courteous welcome aboard contact, and that's definitely a sign of the times. We got contact letters from House Leader Pelosi. She's wanting to reestablish herself as the Speaker.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting time.
Yeah, between here and there. So you're busy. It's one of those things where you look at your calendar and go, okay, I'm busy right up until the inauguration.
Yes.
And then the swearing-in ceremonies that are going to be taking place there. Well, keep us posted on all of that, because obviously we're interested to see, what the process is for. Frankly, it's been 16 years since we've had to worry about, what happens with a freshman representative from Guam.
Yes, actually, that's something that I was thinking about a lot last night. I've been, having a hard time going to sleep. So many things running. But one of them was, there hasn't really been this type of transition in a very long time, and having that transparency of the public just to kind of keep them abreast of how this happens, what happens next. I think it's an interesting thing to share.
Well, I don't know that outside of Madeline, is there anybody in her office right now that was there 16 years ago when she took over from Uncle Robert?
I don't think so.
Yeah. There's been enough transition. I mean, and you and I know people that have worked in the office, some of them for many, many years, but I don't know that there's anybody that goes all the way back to it. But interesting to see. But it is certainly a new day and age in Washington, D.C., as you point out. They had their Super Tuesday, and the House went blue by a handful of representatives from different states. Does any of that change? I want to say a little bit of the, when you were in the election process, there were certain things you'd kind of staged out and said, okay, when I get there, these are some of the people that I want to talk to. These are some of the caucuses that I want to belong to. Has that changed as a result of the House going as blue as it did the other day?
Yeah, we hit the reset button entirely. Having my staff drop a dossier of all the new incoming members, so we can have a full understanding of who got in, what their motivating factors were, but also because we've had several shifts in seniority as a result of some of these new members being elected.
Exactly.
The committees and the subcommittee ranks are going to be adjusted somewhat. And so we're also going to be evaluating that very closely to see if there's any ripe opportunities for us to insert ourselves in new areas that might be changing.
Well, you get the armed services. It always felt like Guam was always a part of the Armed Services Committee, and I've got my fingers crossed because that's an important one, and there are great opportunities for horse trading if you are a member of that committee in and out of other things. It's one of those places where we've always been able to exert a little bit of power on what happens in Washington, D.C.
Mike, with the Democrats now in control of the House, do you have a sense of what your voting rights are going to be in committee and on the floor?
Well, I know that
changes.
Yeah, Congress. It could. Congresswoman Berdalia, as part of her victory lap, was also trying to make sure that we had more voting rights with the leadership if it was going to be a Democratic majority.
Have they not allowed that in the past? Where and it comes up, it's one of those things they just talk about in the beginning and say, okay, from here on out, guys in the insular places can vote on the floor. Can vote in committee.
So that's yet to be determined.
Yeah. Right. All right. We'll fish out all of that stuff in a second. Let's get back a little bit to the election here, because as I said, very interesting election. When I was at the Rotary Club introducing you and Doris, talking about the history that was made here, if you had asked me 7 months ago, who I would be introducing, it would have been Madeline and somebody else. But as a result of the primary election, and as a result of Doris Flores-Brooks, who could have been the public auditor for life, stepping down in that position, giving rise to a whole other race in a special election. As I said, a very historic moment. Outside of all of that, the magnitude of that, you still had to go out there and get the vote. So which flavor of cotton candy was the one that do you think got you the most votes?
We had two flavors, but I think one was like a creamy vanilla, and another was like a strawberry. But the majority of what we had on stock, what they had on stock on Island, was a strawberry flavored. So it was a strawberry cotton candy victory.
So I've got a feeling that we're going to see more of that. And now that with your success in getting you into Washington D.C., I think maybe some of the other politicians will take a page out of your campaign book and say, well, if it worked for Mike, then it might work for us as well. Now what's happening at the legislature? I mean, you've still got a regular full-time job, and there's got to be a session in November coming up. So what are your outstanding to-dos in the 34th Guam legislature?
There are several bills that we have still in committees. At this juncture, though, because we have such a large number of new senators coming in, I am interested in helping them transition in as smoothly as possible. A lot of what we've seen over the last 6 years and spoken to has come to materialize with respect to the fiscal state of affairs in the government of Guam. And for me as a senator, when I first came in, that was a learning curve for me. You know, at first you come in and you kind of take circumstances for granted, or you kind of take people at their word, only to come to find out that the fiscal realities are not what everyone wants them to, what everyone wants you to believe them to be. And so we've learned how to really evaluate them by analyzing the data that's available and looking at the numbers very transparently. I want to be able to help these new members coming in be able to make those kind of determinations for themselves, so that they're less inclined to be
bamboozled,
making decisions that they're not fully
not necessarily based on fact and sound fiscal doctrine.
Right.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. But do you think that'll be an issue this time? And you know, let's talk globally here, holistically, as Ken Joe would say. There is a Democrat supermajority in the legislature. If all of the numbers work out right, and after all of these outstanding ballots finally make their way in the final analysis, we've got a supermajority in the legislature of Democrats. There will be, unless barring any significant changes, there will be a Democrat at Adelup. Right. Do you suppose that the next 2 years certainly could not see the same kind of almost aggravation between the two different branches? But it seems to me there's a harmony of interest now between the legislature and Adelup. Do you still think there's room for bamboozlement?
There will be a harmony of interest, but that also means that there's going to have to be a harmony of outcomes. And if the public wants a certain outcome, at this juncture, the Democrats are very compelled to deliver on it. And one of those outcomes the public wants very clearly is they want their money to be managed properly. And one of the hardships that we've had in my term and in previous terms with the two different parties in the legislature and in Adelup is an inability for us to reconcile numbers in a way that makes us comfortable, at least on my side.
Right.
And then of course the finger pointing happens, and whose fault was it that we're here? That can't happen anymore. You know, the governor, Lulian Guerrero, is going to have to put a budget down to the legislature that's going to have to balance. The legislature is going to have to agree that it balances, and then if there's any deficits, the Democrats, as a body, are going to own those deficits. It's not, we can't say it's somebody else's fault.
Right.
So there is going to be a harmony of you know, everybody working together. But then
let me back up that
they
point,
have
though.
to deliver.
Let me back up on that point, though. I mean, because it seems to me that the legislature in this round, in this last budget round, and it was a painful one, and you know that because it prevented you and Dennis and Frank and BJ from being able to go out and do some campaigning just days before the primary election. So that one was a tough road to go, but you were able to put out a budget that says, all right, including this and an increase in certain real property taxes, this ought to make it so that we're balanced going into 2019 in that new fiscal year budget that we've already started. But the problems were over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. And you'll recall the story that they gave about, well, you know, we can't institute this new tax because of the way the law is written. And so the legislature can do things. The governor's office can do things. But if the government of Guam fails to follow through with the demands that they reduce spending or increase revenue, that's not the legislature's fault.
Well, it's somebody's, you know, and when we have Democrats in Adelup and in the legislature, it's going to be the Democrats' fault. And so we need to be very, you know, we need to be very upfront with that reality, and we need to deliver for the people. They gave us a mandate, and they're going to expect us to deliver. And we need to understand what the circumstances are and what's on the line, and we need to make sure we follow through.
So among my favorite things about interviewing congressmen and representatives from Guam and Washington, D.C., when they come back to Guam, I'm like, well, how much money did you bring this time? And so I think that's part of what we're sending representatives to Washington for, to make sure that we get as good a deal as possible out of the federal government of the United States of America. And given the fact that there are still Republicans in the House and in a Republican-led Senate, are you going to be able to do that?
I'm going to do my best. Of course.
Where do you want to find the money?
Well, we've introduced several measures at the local level, trying to make sure the local government is able to put together the data necessary for us to reconcile claims to the federal government. One of the really big ones that I think is out there that we can probably do administratively, but we can definitely start also working on it legislatively, is the air transportation taxes. Whenever you buy an airline ticket, you pay an air transportation tax. I think it's about $18 now. This tax goes all the way back to 1970, and back in 1970 it was at like $3.70, but it's been going up every year since 1970. This tax, in the Organic Act, every tax on the inhabitants of Guam is supposed to be remitted to the territory.
Comes back to us.
This does not go back to us. This has been going to the FAA since 1970. And so what I'm wanting to do is go back out and say, hey, you know what, I think we have an unreconciled Section 30 claim here. And based on our initial estimates, this could be upwards of close to $100 million.
Interesting.
So that's definitely high on my list of what money we can probably bring back. So I want to work on that, but I also, you know, in kind of a
is there a payment in lieu of taxes that Guam might be owed for certain federal agencies sitting on Guam lands? I know that there were a couple of guys that were looking at that a few years ago and wondering if there was a way, without sugarcoating it too much, to get paid rent for the bases.
Oh, rent for the bases. Well, you know, whatever we go after for Guam has to be consistent with what the practice is throughout the remaining the United States. And I know that no base in the United States pays property taxes, and so that's just a fact, you know, of what happens when there's a base on.
What about parks?
We need to look into that,
yeah.
But I can't imagine that would be the case either. But I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. We'll definitely look into that.
Yeah.
If it's something that we can claim for Guam that's consistent elsewhere, then absolutely.
We'll see what happens in other territories. I mean, maybe it's not something that applies at the state level, but it's possible that there's precedent that has been set in other territories, unincorporated or otherwise. Anyway, some other interesting places. You know, there's the usual table stakes, which is what I refer to the standard issues that everybody goes to Washington D.C. to take care of for us, and we can add the EITC, what is it, compact impact, all of those kinds of things. Do you have any specific new plans to deal with those two issues, the unfunded mandates, as it were?
Well, the EITC, you know, one of the reasons why that's always going to be a problem for us to reconcile here on Guam is because the federal government did not compel us to pay it. We were the ones that initially started paying it. And so now that we've almost basically voluntarily started paying it, we can try and make our claim to Treasury to have it reimbursed, but Treasury will come back to us and say, you guys were the ones that chose to pay that out.
Yeah.
They may even come back and say, if you don't want to pay it, you can also choose not to going forward. I mean, that's a possibility. And so,
well, I've recommended that, but I don't know. I think people around here have gotten used to seeing these as many as the higher tax refunds coming out, and a lot of that, my understanding, is based on EITC. These tax refunds would not be as high as they were. We would not be seeing what is it, $160 million in tax refund liabilities to the government of Guam.
Yeah, I believe about $60 million of that, I think, is the
additional EITC, right? Yeah.
And so, you know, we need to be very cognizant of what it is that we're going to be, you know, what the dialogues are going to result in. And if the Treasury comes back and says, well, the Guam administration can choose, then that's going to put a new level of a burden on the governor. And so, you know, for me on EITC,
politically uncomfortable already talking about it. So let me just take money out of people's pockets.
Right. And so I think on the EITC, one area that we may have some ability to get new reconciliations on is on compact migrant EITC. Because a compact migrant, for example, in Hawaii, their EITC is actually paid by the Treasury. Because EITC is a federal income tax credit.
Yes.
And so the EITC of a compact migrant is paid by the U.S. Treasury. For us to be paying EITC to a compact migrant here on Guam out of the Guam coffers is creating a liability to the government of Guam as a result of the compact treaty. And so I'm of the mind that we can make a compact impact claim on EITC that's paid out to compact migrants.
Right. But then that goes. I can already hear the people at the Department of Interior screaming and yelling that we're not using the correct formula, or that's the way it's done in Hawaii, and we're not going to let you do it until we've got, you know, all of the spreadsheets that show the calculations that led to this invoice amount that you're going to be sending back to us.
Well, what's interesting is if DOI,
I've always felt like that's part of the roadblock.
Right. If DOI comes back to us and says that that's not part of the formula, that's not how it's done in Hawaii, then we turn around and we say, well, how it's done in Hawaii with respect to EITC for compact migrants is Treasury pays it. So can you go to Treasury and get Treasury to cut us a check?
Yeah.
And by the way, can you take that all the way back to 2008? You know,
yes.
That's another chunk of money that I'm hoping we can get a conversation going on, because, I mean, very obviously the EITC liability for compact migrants is a unique liability that only the people of Guam are paying.
Yeah. So are you planning to have two homes, one here and one in Washington, D.C.? Are you going to maintain an aggressive return schedule to Guam?
Well, yes, I am.
And who's going with you? Who are you taking with you? I mean, obviously you got a family that we got school and work and things like that here, but you know, who are you gonna take to staff your office?
Well, with respect to who's coming, I'm talking with my team about it. A lot of them have they have the children going to school here, and they don't want to disrupt that. And so there's, I think a good number of my team will be remaining here on Guam, which is a very good thing because they're the ones that worked so hard to also reach out to the people, so they have a very clear understanding of what the community's expectations are for our office. Having them remain here and maintaining those public channels of communication, I think, will be good for the community and good for the office.
I guess the last of the big table stakes here, and it's something that we need to pause and recognize. This is the Veterans Day weekend, and there are all kinds of opportunities to honor the men and women for their service, the privilege of service to the country, but that's always been a big deal for our representatives in Washington, D.C. to make sure that we've got the best deal possible for the veterans, and to the degree that there are still many of them that are unsatisfied, what more can you do as a freshman in the House?
Well, I know Congresswoman Berdalio has had several initiatives that she's been moving forward. The expansion of the CBOC is already something that's part of her legacy. We want to make sure that we're involved in that dialogue and follow through on that. And then if that expansion is still unsatisfactory to our veterans, we need to figure out how we're going to begin, meeting the rest of their needs. I had the luxury of being able to tour the facility and have a conversation with some of the service providers up there.
Nice.
And they were sharing with us some of their, their wish list as well. And so we need to see how we can work on that. There's also some opportunities for some partnerships, I think, with the local government. And so if the local government is open to meeting the federal government halfway with respect to putting together some type of joint response to some veterans' concerns, I think that would be a way for us to definitely tie in local government resources with some of the federal government's ability to come in on the other side.
Is there, and so tell me about the relationship that, obviously you've got a great relationship with Lou Leon Guerrero. You used to work for once upon a time. I'm trying to think. Did you work for Lou when you were running around the bank? Okay, there was some time together riding the elevators?
Oh, yeah, lots of time.
Okay, so there's a relationship that you've got with Lou Leon, the governor-elect Lou Leon Guerrero. How do you best take advantage of that as the congressman-elect?
Well, Lou's a very pragmatic woman. I think that what I need to do as a congressman is just demonstrate to her how we're going to be able to add value to her mission of governing the people and following through on her platforms. And we have every intention of doing that. Part of the conversation we had today about bringing these resources into Guam are resources that are going to really help Lou to get the government's financial house in order.
Yeah.
And so we definitely want to be a part of that solution for the new administration.
Well, she said, I think you were at that forum when she said that she'd even go meet with President Trump and do what she's got to do to get some deals out of Guam. And the last thing, and it might not be in your lane to say one way or the other, but as a member of the legislature, I'm sure the subject has come up. Does the governor need an office in Washington, D.C., or can you act to liaise between the governor's office and the rest of the D.C. community?
We're going to help Adlib as much as we can, but if the administration wants to have their own channels, I definitely don't ever want to in any way lower the volume or mute the voice of the people of Guam. And we'll work with whoever the administration has in mind if that's part of their agenda.
Well put. Mike St-Nicholas, congratulations. Congressman-elect Mike St-Nicholas, and we'll talk to you maybe from Washington, D.C. Send me a WhatsApp and show me some pictures of what you're up to.
You got it, Ray.
I'd love to see that process in action. The radio station is KUSG Hagutnya. Coming up, Fox News Live on the other side of that. Kevin Kerrigan with all the big news stories, and Blake and I and Mike are going to pretend to talk about sports. It's all ahead right here on The Point.
The latest briefing just held in California on last night's mass shooting. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. An ex-Marine, the suspect, believed to have killed himself after opening fire in a bar west of L.A. that was hosting a college night event.
Within a split second, everyone yelled, "Get down." We didn't take it seriously at first. It's kind of like you freeze because it sounded like firecrackers.
And the gunman was throwing smoke grenades all over the place.
12 people were killed, including a longtime sheriff's sergeant. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal is live in Thousand Oaks.
Yeah, Lisa, FBI evidence response teams are here from L.A. More are coming from other cities. The FBI agent here who spoke at that briefing said they're looking at Ian David Long's home and his car, and those response teams are helping with this investigation. They say they're looking, of course, at his past to see if he had been, quote, radicalized or had any known associates. Long was a Marine, served in Afghanistan in 2010. He was awarded multiple medals and commendations according to the Marine Corps, and was also a machine gunner. The sheriff here in Ventura County says they were called to his house this past April. He was disturbing the peace, and a mental health crisis team talked to him. He wasn't detained, but the sheriff says they think he might have been suffering from PTSD, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. Meantime, the Marine Corps' top officer calls the shooting despicable and excommunicated Long today. It's not clear yet why Long left the service in 2013. Meantime, a different kind of crisis in Northern California. At least 27,000 people ordered to evacuate a wildfire that started early today, spreading quickly near the town of Paradise. On the immigration front, a piece of breaking news. A new rule just announced by Homeland Security to enforce what the president had already said, that anyone entering the southern border with Mexico illegally will not be allowed to seek asylum. This is Fox News.
For more than 40 years, we've earned your trust, caring for our island's health, quality care and access to health solutions you deserve. Take care, our Islander Health Plan. Take care, health solutions that you deserve. Take care, peace of mind to comfort you. Take care, take care, take care.
The problem isn't just not being able to hear or understand, or having to tell people to speak louder. Sometimes the frustration is having to repeat yourself too many times, or speaking so loud you're almost shouting. At Guam Hearing Doctors, we understand that hearing problems affect both sides. One of our goals is to help your hearing for those around you. Call us at 989-TEST to learn more.
Not so fast in Florida, where recounts are now possible in the governor's race and the U.S. Senate battle, both tightening as more ballots are counted. And a legal fight may be coming in the Georgia governor's race.
The integrity of the process has been clear in Georgia. This election's been done like many before.
Republican Brian Kemp claiming victory and resigning as Secretary of State today. But Lauren Grow-Wargo, campaign manager for Democrat Stacey Abrams, says there are more than enough outstanding ballots to make a runoff possible.
Some additional votes that have not been counted are our military and overseas ballots. In Fulton County alone, that number is 1,000 votes, and there are more all over the state.
They're also checking hundreds of claims of potential problems with absentee and provisional ballots. The White House dismissing criticism of a reporter's punishment and retweeted video footage.
Video of a heated exchange between CNN correspondent Jim Acosta and President Trump, which led to Acosta's press pass being suspended, is under scrutiny. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders tweeting a clip of the moment where a White House intern attempted to take the microphone from Acosta, who resisted, explaining he placed his hands on the young woman trying to do her job. A number of media figures, including CNN executive Matt Dornick, say the clip appears to be sped up to make Acosta's movements seem more aggressive. In a statement, Sanders says the question is, did the reporter make contact or not? The video is clear he did. We stand by our statement.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. CNN accuses the White House of retaliating for challenging questions. Mortgage rates jumping to the highest level in nearly 8 years. Freddie Mac puts the average 30-year fixed rate at 4.94%. Citing the overall strength of the economy, the Fed still expects an interest rate hike next month and 3 more next year after leaving a key rate unchanged today. Stocks were mixed. The Dow up 10 points. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Super Typhoon U2 has become one of the strongest storms on record to date. APL recognizes the damage that U2 has left behind and sees an opportunity to help our neighboring brothers and sisters in the CNMI. We humbly ask for the community's assistance in providing donations and supplies to our fellow islanders. All supplies can be dropped off to our APL office or coordinated for pickup and loading. Call 588-4651 for more details and to learn how you can help today.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus.
The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
Konnichiwa! We'll be celebrating the 39th Japan Autumn Festival on Saturday, November 17th, 2 to 9 p.m. at the Governor Joseph Flores Beach Park or EPAL Park in Dumont. Parking will be available across Oka Payless with free shuttle service starting at 1:30 p.m. Advance tickets available now at the Japan Club of Guam office located on the first floor of PM Marine. Once again, the Japan Autumn Festival at EPAL Beach Park, November 17th from 2 to 9. Come, join us. For information, call 646-8066. Thank you to our platinum sponsor, Bank of Guam, and the radio stations of Choice Broadcasting.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Mark Benventi of Santa Rita, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voice of our community and sharing thoughts and issues that affect us all. It all boils down to our people, our land. Protei Igumamo. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Good news, Guam! Now you can design a phone plan that suits your needs by switching to GTA's handset payment option. With HPO, you can take home a new smartphone today and pay it down over 12, 18, or 24 months. You decide. And since there's no contract, you can upgrade phones at any time. So stop waiting. Join the thousands already taking advantage of the most flexible phone plan on Guam. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply. GTA, your island, your network.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Attorneys representing the plaintiffs in more than 180 clergy sexual abuse lawsuits said the Archdiocese of Agana's decision to seek reorganization by filing for bankruptcy protection will help with the mediation process, which so far has produced few results. The initial mediation hearings were conducted in September in hopes of settling many of the cases without a public trial, but at a status hearing yesterday in district court, Archdiocese Attorney Keith Talbot told the court not many cases were settled. The most positive report came from plaintiff attorney Anthony Perez, who said he has settled 8 cases, 5 settlements with the Capuchins, 2 settlements with the Boy Scouts, and 1 with the Sisters of Mercy. However, attorney David Lujan, who represents about 120 of the plaintiffs, said, "We haven't settled with anybody, period." Lujan said a bankruptcy filing would be a positive step because there'd be more transparency of church assets, all of which would be listed in the bankruptcy filing. Chief District Court Judge Francis Tedengo Gatewood and Superior Court Judge Michael Bordallo are presiding over the abuse lawsuits, which have been filed in both federal and local Superior Court. They agreed to allow the mediation effort to continue for another 2 months, and they set the next status hearing for January 17th. Governor Eddie Calvo yesterday issuing a statement congratulating all those who were voted into office on Tuesday. However, the statement makes no specific mention of Guam's first elected female governor and first openly gay lieutenant governor. In his statement, Governor Calvo wrote that it is not easy to run for office. Your life and every word and action you ever made comes under public scrutiny as the people decide whether or not you are worthy of their vote. To those who threw their hats in the ring, the governor said, "I commend you for stepping up to the call to serve our island." For those who were voted into office, congratulations, said the governor, and I pray for your success and honorable service to the public. Governor-elect Lou Leon Guerrero and Lieutenant Governor-elect Joshua Tenorio, meanwhile, made headlines nationally in the wake of Tuesday's vote. Yesterday, their transition team issued a brief statement saying the governor and lieutenant governor-elect are meeting with key advisors this week and working on their transition plans. They anticipate being able to publicly announce their initial plans sometime next week, according to that statement. We'll have more news after this.
The season of giving is here, and the stations of Choice Broadcasting want to give back. 93.3 The Point, Boss 104, Star 101, and Lux Guam present Charity of Choice. Each of our radio personalities have chosen a Guam charity that they would like to benefit.
And I chose Habitat for Humanity. Tune in daily to see how you can help.
Charity of Choice 2018 is brought to you by Choice Broadcasting Company, Lux Guam, American WaterTech, and the station that gives from the heart, 93.3 The Point.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
11 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. The U.S. Army is investigating the death of a soldier from Guam who was on duty in South Korea. 28-year-old Sergeant Marcos John Uggan died after being found unconscious on Sunday at Camp Hovey, which is located near the border with North Korea. Uggan was pronounced dead at the Jungang St. Mary's Hospital in the nearby city of Dongducheon. In a statement, the Army said the cause of his death is under investigation. Uggan joined the Army from Talifofo in January 2015. He was a cannon crew member with the Fort Bliss, Texas-based 3rd Armored Brigade, which rotated to South Korea last month. In a statement, Battalion Commander Lieutenant Colonel Jason Carter said, "Everyone looked up to Sergeant Uggan, and our thoughts and prayers go out to his family for their loss." Sergeant Uggan is survived by his wife and 3 children. The remains of U.S. Navy steward's mate Ignacio Camacho Farfan were laid to rest at the Guam Veterans Cemetery in Pidi yesterday morning, 77 years after he died in the Japanese surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. Farfan was one of 10 children born to Vicente Cruz Farfan and Joaquina Camacho Farfan of Agana. He joined the Navy and was assigned to the USS Oklahoma, and he was one of 429 crewmen aboard that battleship who died on December 7, 1941. He was just 21 years old when he was killed. His remains were finally identified using DNA analysis. Farfan was buried with full military honors yesterday. At the funeral, Farfan's grandnephew, Jeffrey Tatautau, said the service finally brings closure to the family. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now with a look at weather.
8:13. We'll get to weather in just a second, but can you imagine that schedule that Mike has got right now? I mean, they want him in D.C. next week, and he's got to come back, and then they're going to want him back again by, what did he say, December 1st?
Yeah.
He's going to miss the K-pop concert.
More important things to do, I guess.
For the people. He's doing it for the people. It's 8:13 in the morning. Is there going to be weather today? Yes. And the answer is it's going to be hot weather. Why is that, Mike?
Well, we got some drier air coming in, and lots of sunshine is going to be shining down on us this weekend. But first, we got another day of rain, and checking the radar right now, we can see some pretty good showers making their way in.
I just refreshed it.
That's quite all right. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like the northern portion of this line of showers is kind of holding together. The good news is it's not a very broad line of showers, so it'll probably sweep on across within about an hour or so, and that'll be it mostly, and then things will start to dry out this evening, and then right through the weekend. Tomorrow's going to be hot, so if you got outside plans, make sure you're prepared. Got water and things like that.
Yeah, water or beer. Okay, just beer.
I'd have both.
It's
going to get really
so
hot.
Is it now? So grill marks weekend.
Absolutely.
Absolutely,
yeah,
grill
but
marks.
You got to use caution because it's going to be a warm.
All right. So for the uninitiated here, when I say grill marks weekend, what I mean is it possible that there might be a couple of hours of laying out on the beach and just getting nice toasty tanned? And the answer is yes. So if you've got those white legs and you don't want white legs for wintertime here on Guam, take advantage of what we're referring to as a grill mark weekend. Watch out for the heat, though. Heat index going to be around 103 degrees. Sunset tonight, 5:51. Sunrise tomorrow morning is at 6:17. Coming up, sports with Blake.
The season of giving is here, and the stations of Choice Broadcasting want to give back. 93.3 The Point, Boss 104, Star 101, and Lux Guam present Charity of Choice. Each of our radio personalities have chosen a Guam charity that they would like to benefit.
And I chose Habitat for Humanity. Tune in daily to see how you can help.
Charity of Choice 2018 is brought to you by Choice Broadcasting Company, Lux Guam, American WaterTech, and the station that gives from the heart, 93.3 The Point.
I know what you mean. 8:15, we got to talk about what we're going to be chewing on today over at King's Restaurant. Pick 2, pick 3 combo, but the big lunchtime special is beef tenactac, and beef tenactac is awesome. I mean, it's great comfort food here on Guam. That's one reason why I like talking about the beef tenactac. But the other one is because that's what they serve on Fridays. And I don't know about you, but I love Fridays. Yeah, lunch at King's today.
It's Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary, and to celebrate, we are giving away a new Kia Soul LX, a Mazda 3i Sport, the popular Honda Civic LX, and 30 Manila Flyaways during our 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway. Win 3 great cars from Triple J Auto Group, 30 Flyaways from Philippine Airlines, plus thousands of prizes from Burger King and Foot Locker when you play Micronesia Mall's 30th anniversary Drive-Away Flyaway.
Portions of the Gibbs Show also brought to you by my pals over at AK Lexus, where they're waiting for you to test drive the brand new ES350. 2019s are in. They're on the lot. They're moving fast, literally and figuratively, so make sure you get an opportunity to test drive as quick as you can. Also brought to you by Security Title. When you absolutely positively need, help if the very complex real estate things that you've got working, trust me, Ron and Kim have seen everything and can walk you through, hold your hand the entire way. My friends over at GRMC, first choice for all of your, open heart surgery needs. American President lines. They're shipping the future. American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. And as usual, I like to say, Micronesia Renewable Energy. There's never been a better time to go solar.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out.
We're to Kimosabe, 8:17 in the morning, and we finally made it to Friday, and there seems to be a great deal of interest in the Mo Cotton House over the Pittsburgh Steelers and Panthers games that's set to start in, 2 hours?
Yeah, 11:20 because of daylight savings time. Because like last week, it would have been a 10:20.
Yeah.
Because they fell back, it moves it even for us back to 11:20.
Yeah,
so.
but now is it a big game? Is that why is
it's big for those fans?
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, they're about middle of the road teams. You know, I mean,
Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. Now. They could, it could turn. It could. I mean, it could be a. You know, they're, like I said, it's way better than the game we had last week. These are way better teams than the Niners and the Raiders.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you know, I mean, but the thing is, even if the teams are bad, you know, somebody's got to win, and so sometimes games can turn into a good game, even though they're bad teams, just because you know, it's back and forth and exciting, and they trade points.
And the fact is, you've got 2 pretty good quarterbacks in this game, so it could be a shootout.
Yeah, like I said, record-wise, these are 2 very middle of the road, middle of the league teams. But you know, maybe in a month they could both be there. Maybe one for a wild card, one could win the
roll about
division.
3 wins in a row, man, and you're back on top. In this
so, but yeah, just I'd watch for Cam Newton. Is that in Pittsburgh?
I don't know.
That is in Pittsburgh.
Is it? Okay, yeah. Then I would shy towards them. I know we're gonna get to Pick'ems in a little bit, but
I picked this.
But yeah, no. But anytime you get to watch Cam Newton and Big Ben, and especially because Big Ben probably only has a couple years left, so should be fun.
Jonathan Bullwinkle saying, you guys talk about the 5K list in the Guam Daily Post, but I can't find it online anywhere. Is it just in the physical paper? And the answer is, I don't know. I'm going to check with the managing editor of the Guam Daily Post. Kevin
just mouths it. We read Kevin's lips.
News. The PDN supposedly has one, but their link doesn't work. Sorry about that. So for me, it's at the bottom of the back page of sports. That's where you go to find the 5K information. There's 2 of them this weekend. Both of them Saturday morning, so you're going to have to decide. San Vicente Catholic Schools got one, the annual salute to our veterans. And then at Chamorro Village on Saturday morning, GCC, First Hawaiian Bank's John Cayley Jr. run and walk. And like I said, I think it's that time of year where the guys from the Guam Running Club say, let's go north on the route. So it's Chamorro Village. Then you go around the loop, and then you go up to about where Ray Tenorio's office was, the parking lot there, and hang a Louie, and then haul all the way back. Right, so that's the idea. Usually a little bit faster coming back because you've got the wind at your back and the sun at your back. So you've got a couple of things going. And anyway, well-marked course. In fact, there might still be marking. In fact, I know there are markings for the 2K still on the course because I ran on top of them when I was doing my training run yesterday. So it's going to be worth it. Plus, airplane ride, that's the big grand prize.
Oh, yeah, you get a trip, right?
You get a trip. This one here has a trip attached to the back end of that.
I need a trip. Well, maybe I'll run.
And then
win.
The other question is, PDN used to print the results of the 5Ks, and now that I'm running faster, I want them could somebody Daily Post? Who do I know at the Daily Post? I get the information from the running club and print that stuff out there because I want to be able to I don't know, clip for clipping's sake. All of that. So just FYI. Any big local sports we got?
We do. We've got some big one-sided scores as the Ukudu Bulldogs, they topple the Tees and Titans. Bad day if you're a Tees and Titan yesterday. They get beat 11-1 on the baseball diamond. Ukudu, by the way, pretty good in the standings there. So they did what they should have done as they beat the visiting Tees and Titans 11-1. And then over on the pitch, as I reported to you earlier that the Father Duenas Friars fell earlier this week to the JFK Islanders in a rematch of last year's championship game. That was 4-1. Well, they bounced back very nicely as they take care of Teedson 12-1. So they outscored the baseball team by 1 point, did the soccer team.
Now I noticed that we've got girls' high school basketball.
Yes, I got 2 undefeateds. Do you have it there?
No, go ahead.
The Academy of Our Lady of Guam, the Mighty Cougars, they stayed atop the Goodell Division when they are perfect 3-0 after 3 weeks of the season. They played their second game in 2 nights. 2 games, 2 nights this week. It happened Wednesday. They beat the Southern High Dolphins 73-29. Southern High still looking for that elusive first win as they are 0-6 at the bottom of their division. And the St. Paul Christian Warriors, which we have talked about at length here during second quarter sports, they have also managed to stay undefeated. They are on top of their division, the Taga division, 7 games and no losses as they beat the Simon Sanchez Sharks 71-26. So
Michael Knight says you prepped a story for me.
Yeah, I prepped about the basketball team in the Guam basketball team.
I must have thrown it out because I thought it was a mistake.
Yeah, well, they're
the off-island one, right?
Okay. Off the top of my head, but I know they're in the FIBA and they're going somewhere to compete and they're doing really well.
I think I saw that a couple days ago. Yeah, somewhere.
Are we going to get in trouble for not mentioning it? Is it one of those things I'm going to get hate mail from and people on the Facebook going, "Why did you mention it?"
No, but I'll have to give back that $10.
Don't you love our people? Ray.
They were over there in India in the FIBA U18 Women's Asian Championships. They finished 0-4. They didn't get a win in that tournament. Yeah, they returned Monday with the experience, and they harbor some of the people that I just named, or some of the players from the teams I just named as Maya. Is it Maya Nicholas? She's from Academy. She was on that team. So.
Did you hear about Emma Sheedy? Did you hear that story?
No, I saw.
So
what did I say? I saw her. I saw.
There was an Instagram, and she's going after one of the sponsors of the beauty pageant in the Philippines for sexual harassment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a guy made it sound like he grabbed her by the butt or something like that.
Wow.
And now normally that would be, we would not normally be talking about it in sports, but Emma is big and big. She's a big character
in
the
track and field. Yeah, and she's also a sports writer. She did some writing for
an ambassador for the United Marathons,
and all around good people.
I like her very much.
Her family's good. I know them. I've hung out with her mom, hung out with her dad. I've met her younger sister. They're really good family. So I hate to hear that, and I haven't heard that.
Well,
so, geez, this is Miss Universe or Earth, right? Earth. She's a Miss Earth pageant. I think
that's right.
Is what she's part of.
I don't know what titles are anymore. The titles don't mean anything to me. Miss Earth Guam alleges sexual misconduct in the Manila pageant. Miss Earth Guam Emma May Sheedy alleged in an Instagram post Thursday that a sponsor of the Miss Earth 2018 international pageant in the Philippines had sexually harassed her. Canada's Miss Earth, Jamie Yvonne Vandenberg, and England's Miss Earth, Abby Ann Giles Brown, made similar allegations on their own Instagram posts, which were also published by Philippine news organizations and on CNN of the Philippines yesterday.
They made allegations against the same person, or just
same guy.
Okay, all right. So yeah, maybe it sounds like it's just an individual, just one bad apple in the pageant over there.
It's just weird this happening to one of our kids.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff,
especially her.
8:24 in the morning, and we got Pick'em Weekend coming up, so we better get into some sports with Pick'em music and talking about who's going to win in what footballs. Go, football, go!
It's tough this week.
Yeah.
It is tough.
Yeah. Well, we got today's game, Panthers at Steelers. I got Steelers.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Lions at the Bears.
It's a tough one, but I'm going to have to go Bears. I'm buying in.
This game is going to really suck.
Well, I'm buying in. It's an early game up in Chicago on it's a noon kickoff in Chicago on Sunday morning. So hopefully the weather won't be too bad. Maybe a little windy, but I don't think it will be too nasty or dark or cold. So
that'll be good.
All right, I got Michael Knight on the Facebook and the YouTube live here, so everybody can see Michael with helping Blake with his picks.
There we go. Got Saints at Bengals.
Man, the Saints signed my receiver Desmond Bryant this week, and I am going to pick against them.
Really?
Just because I still think that they're on borrowed time, and that game is in Cincinnati. And Breeze is a different quarterback outside of the dome. Because, you can't.
Right.
It's perfect weather in the dome, so you can throw it well when there's elements outside, especially in windy Cincinnati.
That's right.
Yeah, when it's windy Cincinnati, ball may fly all over the place.
I don't know. It seems like the Saints are on a mission because this may be Breeze's last or close to his last season, and they seem to be playing kind of possessed. I got to pick the Saints on this one. Got Atlanta at Cleveland.
Atlanta. Give me the Dirty Birds all day.
Yep. New England at Tennessee.
Give me the Patriots.
Yeah,
Bill Belichick will not lose to two former coaches and players. And Mike Vrabel, who used to play for the Bill Belichick Super Bowl Patriots, is coaching the Titans.
That's right.
So they're going to lose.
Totally agree. Jaguars at the Colts.
Man, this
Another
is a
garbage
dumpster
game.
fire, the highest order. Give me the Jaguars, I guess.
I guess fine, just only because Indianapolis is worse than they are.
We don't even have to do the next one. Chiefs are going to smack the Cardinals around everywhere.
Chiefs.
You want to talk about dumpster fire?
Yeah, the next one.
Well, geez, what a wasteland New York State's going to be as the Jets travel to that frozen wasteland of Buffalo. And
two last-place teams playing in a division that both teams know they have no chance of winning. So that's I picked the Jets.
Okay.
Because it's in New York.
I guess you got to pick somebody, right?
I gave it 3 confidence points.
I pick a 0-0 tie.
That's
what I'm going to pick.
Redskins at the Buccaneers.
Oh, Redskins. Buccaneers are terrible.
I got to agree. Chargers at the Raiders.
I'm not picking the Raiders ever again.
No, me either, because I know they're tanking. They're tanking for that first-round pick. Chargers are heavily favored in that one. Dolphins at the Packers.
I hate Green Bay, but they've lost 2 games that they could have easily won, and I think Rodgers pulls it out.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins are not.
Another buzzword, Ray. He finds a way to win. This guy just finds a way to win.
Well, it's because he's creating space.
That's right, and opportunities.
Opportunities.
Nice.
I was watching the Laker game last night, and that's exactly what they see. Here's LeBron James creating space and opportunities for his men down low to get the bucket.
Nice. Seahawks at the Rams.
We never pick Seattle, Mike Knight.
No, I can't on this one.
And the Rams are my Super Bowl pick.
Well, and the Rams lost last week, so I think they're coming back with. Sometimes you got to lose. You got to lose that one game to get back on your zone. So I think they've got it easily. Dallas at Philly.
We'll see. Eagles.
Yeah,
they're gonna slaughter them.
I got to pick.
Cowboys are going to not have a head coach after this week.
Yeah, it seems like the Cowboys are just getting worse as the season goes on.
Good.
That's not how it's supposed to be.
Well, if
finally,
you want your coach out, it is.
Oh, true. Finally, Monday night game. It's Giants at the 49ers. Another dumpster fire game.
Really?
I gave it 1 confidence point. Both teams are horrible.
I don't even know.
I went for the 49ers only.
You
on
know what?
home
I'm
field
gonna.
Advantage. That's it. No other reason.
Okay. All right. I don't even know the name of their quarterback, but I'm going to pick the Niners.
Yeah, I don't either at this point. So there we go. That's
All
your
right.
NFL for the week, and good luck to all our pickers. We'll talk a little bit more about the places and things. Maybe Monday we'll talk about what place everybody's in as we are into Week 10.
Okay, so here's a number I want to give you guys. 6.
Right.
Do you know what it is? 6 what? Ask me. Hurry up, ask me.
The 6?
6.
The number of regular
what?
Super Bowls.
6 Fridays between now and Christmas.
Really?
Yep.
That's it.
That's it. Do you realize we're 2 weeks away from Black Friday?
No.
2 weeks yesterday from Thanksgiving.
When's Election Day?
For the Republicans, today is Election Day. The Democrats all went out and voted on Tuesday, but today is the day that the Republicans are supposed to get out there and do their vote. Couple of other points. I was chatting with a friend of mine on the chats yesterday, and I was talking about going out running. And she says, "Oh, well, what did you do?" I said, "Well, it's just one of those kind of just run days, right? I wasn't training. I was just out running." And she said, "Well, what did you think about while you were running?" And I thought, one of the thoughts that kept popping into my head was whether or not I've got another marathon in me.
Oh, if you do, surely you do.
I don't know. I sucked
You're
at
not
that.
old.
I sucked at. No, it's not. No, I'm in another marathon. Would I join in the upcoming Guam International Marathon that is going to be taking place
April?
next year? Yeah. And so I don't know. I'm of two minds in there. One of them is no, I'll run the half marathon. I'll have a great time and I'll finish happy. Or I'll run and train for the full marathon and run and have a decent time, but still finish tired and cranky. And where's the beer?
Those
Ray
are two
Gibson?
very different roads.
They're very
from
different
here
scenarios.
to April,
yeah,
depending on what your choice is.
And so, but the thing is, and it was a point that she made, and it's one of those things that wow, this is actually kind of an important part to think about is training.
Yeah.
Is the training, and generally don't train alone for a marathon. You generally get into a group of people that you would train in a marathon for. And here's the thing about that is you get in. That's your new family.
Yeah,
that is your new family.
Almost like fighters have training camps,
Yes.
leading up to a big fight. It's kind of the same thing.
And so that's one of the other. And now I'm thinking maybe I do want to get into a training regime and
go find you a tribe to hang out with.
Yeah, the marathon tribe or something like that. So if you are thinking about getting some training in, and maybe it's just the treadmill or something like that. New research: if you're about to hop on a treadmill, throw in the earbuds and turn up your favorite tunes. It turns out that exercising while listening to music adds 19 minutes to the average workout. 58 minutes with music, 39 minutes without.
You ever heard? And now this isn't proven or put on put on paper or anything.
I don't run with headphones. I don't run with music.
Yeah, and I was going to say because I have met some really intense people, whether it be just be powerlifting, running or whatever, that they don't listen to anything because they view it, themselves as cheating because then it gives them something to focus on. Rather than, and they can kind of go in autopilot in their, whether it be lifting or they're running, and they don't want to do that. They want to actually feel the pushing. And
so for me, it's the biometrics, right? I need to hear. Safety is one of the concerns, right? Because you're on the road. There's cars, there's stuff that run you over if you're not aware of your surroundings. So that's number one. But number two is I want to hear myself breathe. I want to hear myself breathe in relation to where my feet are, and so it's hard to do that with headphones.
You set like little milestones or whatever. Like, so do you need to hear your watch beep? Just in case your heart rate isn't going up or anything. Do you have any like alerts you set yourself on your Garmin?
Just there's a thing that comes up every once in a while that says "Don't die." Don't die. Don't die.
You're
okay.
Close to red line. Close to red line.
Sean, yeah. I don't know that I should be. I don't know that my heart rate should be 175 for 25 minutes. I'm not sure about that. I'll check with the doctor and see. It's 8:32 in the morning. That's all the time we got for sports and football and the pick'ems and all of that stuff. And again, the pick'ems players. I didn't bring it into the studio with me, but I'll show it on Monday when we're all back here. Workday Monday is our Bluetooth gizmo. Right,
and it's a battery charger.
And it's a battery charger, right? So it's got the built-in battery, so you can listen to music on it and charge your phone at the same time.
Typhoon ready. It is Typhoon ready.
Exactly. So that's the big prize that you're playing for in the Pick'ems deal. Kevin Kerrigan's got headlines coming up on the other side of these.
Bring joy to your world and your budget with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank at a low 4.99% APR, fixed for 1 year. It's a smart way to add ho 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 without budget uh-oh. To apply for a holiday loan, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or FHB.com. For more information, call 1-877-640-2337. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Blake Watson, listen for that voice at the All-Star Game. He is going to be the voice of the Triple J All-Star deal with the best and the brightest of the youth football that we have going here on Guam. That game is going to be this weekend. I'll get you some details on that. So if you love live football, if you like being at the field place watching it, we'll give you a absolutely fabulous game and great announcement from Blake Watson. Great pronouncement about what's going to be happening on the field and who's got the ball and all that. It's 8:34. And the ball now goes to Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post. It's time for our 8:30 headlines.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, 36-year-old Anthony Frankie Cabrera Celis has been charged with negligent homicide in the death of a 65-year-old man who was assaulted outside a laundromat in Ordot, Chalanpago last Friday. Police spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau reports that George Guevara Dionis was assaulted outside the Crispy Klein laundromat in the Sunshine Plaza. The suspect fled in a white Toyota pickup. Dionis was rushed to GMH, where he died on Wednesday. Witness interviews and vehicle registration records led to Celis's arrest. When police interrogated him, Sergeant Paul Tapau, the spokesman for the Guam Police Department, said Celis admitted to assaulting Dionis. Superior Court Judge Maria Senzon declaring a mistrial in the case against former Guam Police Colonel Mark Charfaras. Charfaras facing charges of official misconduct and obstructing government functions for berating subordinate officers who were responding to a report of illegal fireworks on Christmas Eve 2016. The trial had just begun. Guam Police Officer Craig Calvo was the first witness to take the stand on Wednesday when, during questioning, he remarked that Charfaras was affiliated with the Agate Bloodtown gang. That prompted Charfaras' defense attorney, Randy Cunliffe, to call for a mistrial. He said the prosecution was trying to smear his client's character by shifting the focus from a case of illegal use of fireworks to Charfaras' reported gang affiliation. Judge Senzon agreed, declaring the prosecution had ample time to seek approval for the admissibility of character evidence, but didn't. Senzon concluded Charfaras was denied due process, and she declared a mistrial. Chief Prosecutor Joseph McDonald said, "We respect the judge's decision, and they'll await the judge's written order on the mistrial before deciding what their next option would be." An Air National Guard pilot who was found unresponsive Tuesday on the beach in Tumon, later pronounced dead, has now been identified as Captain John Goris. Goris was a Stratotanker pilot assigned to the Alaska Air National Guard's 168th Air Refueling Squadron. He was on deployment to Anderson Air Force Base. The Guam Fire Department responded to a reported drowning on Tuesday afternoon behind the Westin, and they found Goris on the beach, rushed him to GMH, where he was pronounced dead. The cause of Goris's death remains under investigation. However, no foul play is suspected, according to a statement from the 168th Wing Command. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Gotcha. It's 8:37. We'll call that eye connect time. Hold on a second. I'm distracted by something. A note, people asking about the Veterans Day activities that are going to be taking place here. And I'm not sure how connected this is, but on the 11th, there is going to be Veterans Day trivia at Horse and Cow. Fun starts at 7 o'clock in the evening. $10 entry gets you a beer plus opportunity to have your bar bill paid at the end of the night. Proceeds go to JWLC. Bring your friends and test your veteran knowledge on Monday night over at Horse or whatever the 11th is over at Horse and Cow. I've got details on the Veterans Day ceremony at Epal Beach Park and the Wounded Warrior ride that the Hogs are doing. I'll share that with you in a couple of minutes. But first, let me tell you about iConnect, giving away instant prizes with every new 12-month plan through December 31st. Until New Year's, you'll be entered to win a vacation for two to Manila or incredible weekly prizes when you connect and win with iConnect. Go to iConnectGuam.com for details.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years, we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. Services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Only seeing slowing down traffic in one spot this morning, and it is up and down Santos Hill. That's the one that comes out from the Marriott Hotel. Sorry, the Westin Hotel, and makes its way up towards Marine Drive. And it is worth pointing out that they have also, folks have taken out, the contractors have taken out a public notice for that roadway on the Tarza Water Park side. I'm told it's a parking structure that's going up, but there is a public notice that's starting last week until the end of February. Sidewalk area from Pali San Vitores Road in Tumon near the Circle K at Sun Plaza going up to the corner of Marine Corps Drive will experience slow-moving traffic due to roadside workers, construction equipment, and loading of debris in that area associated with the construction, which means that this is going to make Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's in Tumon suck. It's going to suck. You better learn to love Happy Landing Road, guys, because it looks like for many of you that might be the next best way out of town. I anticipate that it's not just going to slow traffic going up the hill. It will slow traffic probably from duty-free up the hill to that up the hill. So be on the lookout for that starting pretty much now. That's Right Now traffic here on The Point.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Got a note from my buddy Phil Schragi over at the Micronesia Mall. It says, car giveaway tomorrow at 2. You must be president to win. And it comes back a second ago and says, no, you must be present to win. Okay, got that, because, it's one of those things. Good luck to everybody that was there. Hey, Phil, if you've already got, because it's 2 weeks out, if you've already got information about some of your tenants over at the mall, etc., and their Black Friday plans, I'd sure love to know about that. That way I can help get that information out to the listeners, because it's like that. It's like that. And this is important. This is of vital importance. So I definitely have to share it with you now. Let me put this information on the Facebook Live and on the screen. The 9th annual Wounded Warrior Ride is going to be taking place on the 11th Veterans Day ceremony at EPAL Beach Park starting at 11 o'clock. Let me scooch that down a little bit so I can read the whole thing for those of you that can't see it on Facebook and YouTube. Meet at GPO parking lot. This is for everybody on the motorcycles, right? Meet at GPO parking lot next to Wendy's by 8 o'clock in the morning. Raffle tickets will be handed out to each individual on the ride for a free raffle prize. You must be present to win there. They'll do a safety briefing at 10, kickstands up at 10:15, then get down to EPAL Beach Park. All engines are off and parked by 10:45. They don't want to make any noise, anything to interfere with the solemnity of the observance of Veterans Day. If your club, group, or solo rider comes after 10:45, you got to park outside and walk in. No bikes will be allowed in after 10:45. These are bikers. Trust me, these rules are going to get enforced. Then afterwards, you ride up to VFW and Jigo. Food, drinks, rodeo, and entertainment. Party starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Tempting. Oh, my God, that's tempting. 8:42 in the morning, 888-8255. That's 888-TALK. Had the great opportunity in the last hour, in case you missed it. Mike St. Nicholas, Congressman-elect, got to spend a good amount of time with him in the studio, talking about some of the initiatives that he's got, trying to figure out what flavors of cotton candy were the ones that he thinks are responsible for helping him get elected congressman. That's a big deal, and I anticipate in the coming months or in the coming elections, we'll see a whole lot of other, hopefuls, candidates, politicians starting to reach into something different like cotton candy to help them get a vote. 8:43 in the morning, and there was not a whole lot of campaigning going on for the candidates that threw their hat in the ring for the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. I saw William Parkinson out for a little bit, and hardly saw. I mean, Simon Sanchez had a couple of things going on in social media. Didn't see too much by way of Francie, because Francie was associated with Lou's victory for Adelou. And then there's Mike Limtiaco. Didn't see a whole lot by way of campaigning until a couple of weeks prior to that. And then Mike was everywhere shaking hands and reminding him that, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm running for the CCU. Will you vote for me? I've got Mike Limtiaco on the line now. Hey, dude, how you doing?
How's the day and good morning, Ray. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Never better. Thanks very much for asking. Probably better than I deserve, as the guy in the nighttime radio says. But congratulations on your victory in the Consolidated Commission on Utilities.
Thank you very much. I'm very humbled and honored to have the ability to serve our people again. You know, I enjoyed my time as a senator on the 32nd Guam Legislature, and the CCU is a great opportunity.
No, you didn't. If you did it, you would have run for it again.
No, I really did, Ray. I mean, I get asked all the time from people, you know, they make a comment that you must be happy to not be in the legislature again. And I say, no, that's not true. I really did enjoy my time.
Okay.
And the CCU is going to give me that opportunity to serve again, and more of in a part-time fashion. I was a big fan of the part-time legislature.
Yeah.
When we had those discussions. So the CCU it helps me provide a public service, and it's a part-time bill, and it's it deals with two of the biggest agencies on Guam and the government of Guam. So it impacts a lot of people, and I look forward. I know it's going to be very challenging. I know that a lot of what I heard on the street is everybody's focused on rates, and they see rates going up, and how are we going to combat rate inflation? And it's going to be a big challenge because the infrastructure improvements have been put off for far too long, and we're just now in the last 10 years really starting to address it, and that costs money, and it takes a lot of money to to dig up ground and lay new pipe and provide more wastewater services.
It's among the most expensive construction that you're going to do. I think second only to construction over in wharfs and seaside. Very expensive to do and very difficult to maintain because it's underground. It's hard to get to.
Yeah, and Guam's got a very corrosive environment. We live right by the ocean, and nothing is immune from the salt in the air, and it rusts everything. I mean, most of our infrastructure is metal related, so it's going to rust. So we need to continuously maintain it.
Well, there's so much of that here, and you go back and start talking about rate escalation and the need for making good on years and years worth of deferred maintenance. This is every once in a while you hear a politician say something like kicking the can down the road. Well, the can can't go much further than here, where we are, this generation, our time, and so it's going to be up to us to make up for all of those years of deferred maintenance and deferred construction, do all of that work now and make it so that our kids will have it better than we will.
Absolutely, and wastewater is a big deal because it has an even more costly impact if we don't address it now, because it could affect our aquifer, and the last thing we want is to revert back to the times where we had to boil water to make it safe to drink. We don't want to go back. We don't want to go backwards. We need to move forward, and unfortunately, that's going to cost money, but we need to figure out a way to do it in an efficient manner, and attempt to help reduce the price escalation and do what we can to even reduce it if possible.
Well, and to the degree that, we look every day at the price of Tapas oil here. We look every day at the price of West Texas crude, and there are connections between the price of West Texas and the LEAC rate on my power bill, and so I'll look at the number and say, okay, it's going down. It's like $60 for a barrel of West Texas crude now, and there are people going to say, okay, well, when can we start to talk to the guys over at the CCU and the Public Utilities Commission about rolling back the LEAC? What do you think?
Right. Yeah, and that's we really do need to monitor the oil prices. I think everybody probably remembers back in like late to mid 2016 when the CCU actually lowered the LEAC rate. And that and everybody felt that in their power bill. They saw what a difference that makes. But to truly impact rates, the LEAC makes up just under 50% of the total power bill.
Right.
So we need to figure out ways to become less dependent on the fluctuating prices of fossil fuels, and that's only going to happen by looking at renewables. And I know that the CCU has been doing what they can to focus on renewables. I know the first renewable project, I think that happened when the solar project up in Dunedin. I don't have all the specifics, but if I remember correctly, the LEAC at that time was significant, and the negotiated rate for those solar power rates were kind of in line with the fuel prices at the time. So I'm not sure the utility got the best deal that they could, because fuel prices were only forecasted to go higher. But going forward, I think the CCU has a better handle on how to negotiate that solar power rate so that it's a better deal for the Guam ratepayer.
Have you talked to Mike? Have you talked to any of the guys in the solar energy business around here. You know, you got MREs, and we got Bill Hagan's family that does a whole lot of work. There's a couple of other outfits that are out there that I think very disappointed in the direction that the GPA, CCU, and perhaps the Public Utilities Commission is going to take on the reimbursement rate for solar users, and the idea that maybe there is something to that model of distributed generation. What do you think?
You know, the last time I spoke to the solar, energy, the PV companies was back in the 32nd Guam legislature, because that was the legislature that actually, passed some of those laws regarding net metering, and I know that DOE had the intention of installing PV on their rooftops as well.
Yeah.
And I think there is some truth to, how that net metering is reimbursed. Is it reimbursed at the full retail rate, or is there some sort of cost accounted for?
It's one for one that I know of right now. So if, it's all of it. It's the non-fuel costs as well as the as well as the avoided fuel cost.
Right, and I think, when we were in the legislature at the time, it sounded like, I know the industry was going that way, so other municipalities were doing the one-to-one, but, now that we look back at it and we think more about, well, what does it cost to capitalize the power plants? Is there a cost that should be reimbursed at one-to-one? For example, everybody that is on, solar right now, that they still require the utility to provide power at night. So there's still a portion of that capitalization. For example, the new power plant that's going to be built.
Well, I saw Mike, and you need to talk. Go find Frank Blas Jr. and ask him to get together with you and Joe John and take a look at these. There's a box here, and guys that have served out in the desert will recognize it immediately. It's a box that looks like a little 10 by 10 container box. On the inside is a generator and a massive inverter and a massive, though not as big as you would think, pile of batteries. And so batteries are going to change the game, because we won't be able to say that in the future, that once the sun goes down, then these guys out in the distributed generation, the solar folks, will be taking from the system. They will have their own batteries in there.
Yeah,
and still be able to, whatever excess that they generate off these systems, batteries included, they should be able to sell back to the utility, and the utility should be able to take that and cycle that to the rest of the customers.
Right, and I know that the battery technology is getting to that point, to the where it's going to be cost effective, but even more importantly is really solving the intermittency issues that we have right now with our existing solar power builds. Right, so when clouds go over, when there's times of storms, right, there's a significant drop in the amount of power that the solar is able to produce. So what that happens, you then have to shift the load to, one of the generators, right? So you have to kick it on and you're burning fuel again. So if you can solve some of those intermittency issues and you don't have to kick on those generators, every other time, you're going to stabilize that grid, right? So I agree. I think the first solution would be to, get batteries to help with that intermittency of the current solar farms, and then at one point in time, be able to store it so that it can provide power during the evening hours. I don't think the battery technology is quite there yet. That is not cost prohibitive. I mean, we could do it, but it's going to be very expensive. And of course, it comes down to the maintenance of those batteries, right? So, I hate to say it, but we, as a government, we've done a pretty terrible job of maintenance. And figure out how to improve.
And on that statement, I'll segue into the next question I wanted to ask you. And I think as a freshman in the Consolidated Commission on Utilities, I think you're probably a step ahead of everybody, because I know you paid attention to things like this in the past. But there is another way that we might be able to generate electricity using things that we are throwing away right now. I'd like to see incineration. I'd like to see waste to energy happen here on Guam, because I think we are at that time where the technology is available for us to do it safely and mitigate any concerns that there may be for the environment. But I don't know that I want I know I don't want the receiver to do it, and the receiver has said that they don't want to do it. I'm not sure that that we are in a position right now, and will be when the receiver finally hands everything back off to the government of Guam. That's something I'd like to see, the guys over at the Consolidated Commission on Utilities oversee, frankly, is what happens with waste to energy and waste in general. I'd like that to be among your responsibilities. Do you?
I think, when I think about that, Ray, I think that's sort of I guess what would have to happen first, the precursor would be the legislature would need to set that path, right? Because I believe right now there's existing legislation that prohibits incineration.
It prohibits any new licenses from being offered. However, it's still a point of contention in the courts as to whether or not Wagner Gurgis has a viable title, a viable license. They believe that they do, and have sued the government of Guam to enforce it. So it's we might be able to just say, okay, we'll enforce it. Congratulations, you got the account.
Yeah, so we want to look at those rates.
Yeah. Side didn't like any of the rates, and it was all negotiated without the guys in the power company negotiating for the price of the kilowatt that got turned over from the incineration device.
Yeah, most of these solar rates and this waste to energy rates, right? They're all not predicated on fuel prices, and so these companies are going to want to to be competitive. They're going to want to be able to provide a discount to the ratepayers, but they're also a business, right? So we need to make sure that when we are negotiating it, we're not negotiating at times where the LIAC is extremely high, or I should say fuel prices are extremely high, because that's a leverage point for a business that's interested in getting into waste energy. We'd want to be smart about it and look at the historical averages and try and make the best deal for the Guam ratepayer.
Well, in the meantime, it might also be worth going through the legislature. We've got a new body in the legislature, and it's a bunch of Democrat moms, right? So, sorry, maybe I shouldn't profile that way, but maybe among them they might be able to look at it and say, yeah, there is a deal here that we can do, and if it's safe for the environment, it would be nice for all of the other families on Guam to be able to put more money into their pockets as opposed to paying high prices for electricity. Could happen, right?
Yeah, I don't know enough about the incineration technology, but do we have enough volume between high energy producing combustibles and wet garbage? So can we? Because it takes energy to burn wet garbage, right? You need products that you're going to incinerate that have a high energy producing content, like for example tires, right? They're one of the main components is oil itself, right? So burning tires would be that high energy output that would help burn some of the less flammable items such as wet garbage. Yeah. But then you have to deal with the environmental consequences of burning tires, right? You need scrubbers. That's one of the issues with the existing Cabbage plant is the emissions. So we gotta take a look at it. I don't know enough about the technology to determine if it'll meet the EPA regulations. I know it's done elsewhere.
Well, if it can't, then it just simply doesn't get built. I mean, you know enough about the regulatory stuff. Just a couple of minutes left, and so how's my egg farm coming along?
The egg farm is a challenge. We've taken that bill to the legislature to assist us with the USDA loan requirements, which require a lengthy period in order to secure the loan. Yeah. We don't know where that bill is at yet, but we need to ensure that we can that we can get the financing in order to build it, and that's the first step. Yeah,
end of the 30th. We're watching very closely the end of the life of the 34th Guam legislature, and if they haven't worked on it yet, you can only assume that there's a 10-foot pole that is attached to it. But hey, the election's over, so you don't have to worry about the consequences of voting the wrong way on a popular or unpopular bill. Figure that one out. Mike, it's always fun talking with you. It's more fun seeing you. So one of these days we'll start talking about bringing you into the studio and saying hello to everybody.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate the time, and I want to just thank all the people that voted for me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to work hard to do good at the CCU. Thank you very much, Ray.
Because if you don't work hard, if you don't do a good job, the ghost of your father will come. And there was, I never wanted to be on the wrong side of that guy. I'll talk to you pretty soon. 9 o'clock in the morning, the radio station you're listening to is KUSG. I got you, Mike Limtiaco, new member of the Consolidated Commission on Utilities. There are realities that those folks have to deal with that you and I got to deal with as well. Generally, at the end of a check and a deposit from my account to their account. Where are we? Fox News Live's coming up next. Don't have Kevin or Blake or anything, so I got another hour of what's going to end up to be Friday morning small talk on the Ray Gibson show here on 93.3 The Point. But there's plenty to talk about. And try this on. We'll get into this in the next hour of the program. But so we had an election, but we only got to vote for people. We didn't get to vote for things or policies. That makes us kind of unique because there were a ton of issues on ballots all across the country. We'll talk about the more interesting ones as the program continues.
Looking for answers. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Federal and local authorities in Thousand Oaks, California, searching for a motive in last night's mass shooting at a bar packed with college students. Fox's Gernal Scott has more live.
Lisa, police say all of the victims have been identified, but those names are not being released just yet. The focus of investigators is now on who or what made the shooter, Ian David Long, commit this deadly act. FBI Assistant Director in L.A., Paul Delacourt, says they're searching the scene and Long's home to find clues.
Paint a picture of the frame of mind of the subject, identify any potential radicalization or any associates.
Delacourt expects that processing to last several days. A vigil is planned for the shooting victims later tonight at the Thousand Oaks City Hall, Lisa.
Gernal, the Marine Corps' top officer, has excommunicated the suspect Ian Long from his service. General Robert Neller saying his despicable actions run counter to what the vast majority of veterans are known for. A fast-moving wildfire in Northern California has destroyed structures and left some people injured. At least 27,000 people in the town of Paradise, about 180 miles northeast of San Francisco, have been ordered to leave their homes. One day after the firing of the nation's top prosecutor, Democrats want answers.
The top Democrats on the House Judiciary, Intelligence, and Oversight Committee sent letters to senior administration officials demanding the preservation of documents and material relevant to the work of the special counsel and the firing of Attorney General Jeff Sessions. In those letters sent to the acting Attorney General, White House counsel, FBI director, and others, the Democrats say the preservation of records is essential since Congress is conducting parallel investigations. The letters also say committees will be investigating the departure of Sessions.
Fox's Jared Halpern on Capitol Hill. Wall Street, the Dow gained 10 points. This is Fox News.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
There's a reason every day a Guam homeowner is getting a solar system installed by Micronesia Renewable Energy. It's because MRE is the most trusted name in solar. With more solar energy solutions than any other solar company on island, homeowners have a choice to go solar for zero money down or take the path to ownership. Whichever way, it keeps our skies blue and your pockets green. And with the most experienced solar technicians and an energy production guarantee, there are no worries. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
2 days after the midterms, and still no definitive winners in several races in Florida.
3 key races in Florida are now well within the threshold for legally mandated recounts. In the race for Florida's next governor, the vote between Republican Ron DeSantis and Democrat Andrew Gillum is split by 0.47%, which means a machine-led recount is needed. In the race between incumbent Senator Bill Nelson, a Democrat, and GOP challenger Rick Scott, the race is split by 0.22, close enough to mandate a recount by hand. And in the race for Florida State Agriculture Commissioner, the vote is now split statistically 50-50, with Democrat Nikki Fried leading Republican Matt Caldwell by 575 votes. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
In Georgia, the race for governor is also undecided. Even the Republican Brian Kemp has declared victory. John Chandler is a member of the Abrams for Governor legal team representing Democrat Stacey Abrams.
How can anybody claim a victory
when there are enough votes that have not been counted that could cause a runoff here.
Kemp resigned today as Secretary of State to begin his transition, but the Democratic Party in Georgia calling it a legally meaningless political stunt. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg remains in a D.C. area hospital for observation after fracturing 3 ribs in a fall in her office yesterday. The High Court says she went to the hospital after experiencing some discomfort this morning. The 85-year-old broke 2 ribs in a fall in 2012. She's also had cancer twice and had a stent implanted to open a blocked artery. A funeral mass today in Boston for notorious mobster Whitey Bulger, who was killed last week just hours after he was transferred to a federal prison in West Virginia. 2 Massachusetts mobsters are under investigation for Bulger's death, but so far no charges have been filed. I'm Lisa Lacera, and this is Fox News.
If you can dream uncommon design and unprecedented engineering, you define the 2018 Lexus. The boldly designed IS Sport Sedan's aggressive design stimulates the senses.
Advanced paddle shifting puts the exhilarating performance of the IS Sport Sedan at your fingertips. With deep, luxurious seating, the ES350 offers an ultimate level of comfort, while cutting-edge engineering delivers a thrilling drive.
Put yourself in a 2018 Lexus.
Now with special incentives.
At Atkins Kroll.
The Ray Gibson Show is brought to you by King's Restaurant, serving the people of Guam. Just that. I could just stop right there, just because that's what it is. You ever notice? Every once in a while you go, I'm hungry. I want to go eat someplace.
You had them at King's.
And yeah, you go, well, let's go there. Because I know what they have on the menu, and I know I'm going to like it. You don't have to worry about it. And it's the same stuff that you've been eating and enjoying for like 40 years. You remember? You used to go out, hang out over at Captain's Table, and then we'd go show up at King's in the morning and have a breakfast there. Yeah, it's the same. The cooks change, the recipe stays the same, and the service has always been incredible. So think about lunch. Beef Tinactac, pick 1, pick 2, pick 3 combo at King's for lunch today.
Super Typhoon U2 spared us here on Guam, but the same cannot be said for our neighboring islands. From now till November 16th, join us as we help Saipan and Tinian to get back on their feet. Acceptable donations include batteries, flashlights, tools, cleaning supplies, mosquito coils, rope, toiletries, personal hygiene items, and others. Donations can be dropped off to all GTA stores, the Guam Daily Post, all Guam Fire Department stations, and the Santa Teresita Catholic Church. For more information on how you can help, visit postguam.com.
Portions of the Ray Gibson Show also brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. Micronesia Renewable Energy, never been a better time to go solar. American President Lines, they're shipping the future, and American Water Tech. In fact, I've just made new coffee with water that come out our American Water Tech high-tech water dispenser. It's not one of those, it's not where you put the water jug on top of it and it just cleans it. This one takes it out of the pipe, and it's got all kinds. It's got reverse osmosis in it. It's got, ultra Blu-ray DVD thing on the inside of it. Makes it tasty. Smarter water is better water.
The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. Watch and listen live on thepoint.gu.
This is interesting. How do I respond to this? I got a note on my Facebook Messenger from Akio, and it says, logged in using a phone number from Nigeria. Account was recently created. Should I answer this? Let me just, and I love this because you can just click on words I don't want to hear from Akio. There you go. Let me block the Akio there. There'll be another Akio, I suppose, that will reach out to me with a phone number from actual Guam, because the only Akios I know are here. 888-8255. Hold off on everything else. I want to take care of a couple of risks here as the program is going. First thing I want to do is take another look at who's lurking on Facebook Live, etc. I see my buddy Phil Schraggy there, Maka Moylan Alston, Mo Cotton, who's waiting for the Phillies Panthers game to get started about, I don't know, an hour. Bob and Connie Bartonico, Chris Biacchino, always good to see that buddy there. Chalorn Laron from over at Guam Regional Medical City. Who else is there? Lloyd Cubacub. Lloyd, you got to come in here every once in a while and say hello and tell me how the soccer's coming along. Brad Hewitt, Frank Bloss Jr., Jeff Pleadwell is there. Who else? I got Melissa Salas Akimoto, Lynn Perez, and Lynn is going to go crazy. He's going to hang me if I don't take care of something. Where everybody, it seems, is doing something about U2 Super Typhoon U2 relief up in the northern Mariana Islands, and I've got a note from her. They've got a relief drive. This one here in particular for Tinian, and they're looking for first aid kits, blankets, buckets, cans, ropes, bungees, baby wipes, lighters and matches, 5-gallon water containers, or some kind of jug that they can put potable water in, toys and books, small tool kits, need things, all the usual stuff, hammers, pliers, things like that, camping cooking gear. So, hit the camping section over at Kmart, grab some of this stuff. Inverters for the car. You've seen these things. They plug into the cigarette lighter, take the 12 volts, and make it so that you can plug something that'll run 110. So charging batteries and making radios work, that kind of thing. They also need regular batteries. You can go to Trans-Pacific Insurance Brokers. That's the old Citibank. That's what they are. Is the old Citibank next to the Shell is Trans-Pacific Insurance Brokers. You can do some drop-offs. They want you to try to get some of the drop-offs in today between now and 4. They'll have the doors open for you between 10 and 2 tomorrow, but try to get everything in by Sunday at 2 p.m. And then somebody will come and pick up the container and send it up to Tinian. All donations to be received and distributed. I like this by Tinian Premier Football Club. For information, you can reach out to Philip Mendiola Long if you know how to get a hold of that councilman from Tinian. Smart guy. Can I just say, smart fella. I've known him for years. If you leave it there, and I'll come get it. I'll come and eat that later on. I've got my pal from Fruits is in for a visit at one of the stations next door. So anyway, arleylong3@gmail.com is a good way to get a hold of those guys there. So Lynn took care of it, hooked you up. On Facebook Live, John Tovis writes, after any acrimonious election, and the election of 2018 will go down in history as one of the worst, there needs to be a time for the people of Guam to come together once again and heal. Healing is a normal, healthy part of any good relationship. And in order for our relationship with our government, politicians, and fellow citizens to heal, we need to remember the commonalities that bring us together. Healing after an election may not be easy for everyone, and it may be especially difficult this election year because there's so many losers. Now, I stuck that part in. But we must heal in order to move forward and continue to grow our great island we call home. Remember, when one journey begins, one must end. Biba Guam. And congratulations to Lou and Josh as governor and lieutenant-elect. May the good Lord bless you both. Yes, we must come together and heal. Shut up! Shut up! Sore winner. And they look back at you and sore loser. No, we will. It'll be, because it's going to be the holidays. I don't know what the brain power was of selecting November the 6th to have an election. Personally, I'd like to see it, whatever the Saturday is closest to November the 6th, that's a good time to have the election. Then more people might be able to get out there and vote. But here's the good part, and to John's point about healing, is we've done the election. Before long, we'll get all of the ballots back, and they'll do one last tally, and then confirm what we already suspect, that Lou Leon Guerrero is the governor of Guam and Josh Tenorio is the lieutenant governor of Guam. And then we can all move forward into the holidays. I love the holidays. We have Thanksgiving coming up. And I don't know about you, I like turkey year-round. And I found out recently, well, not that recently, but I found out recently, I'm the only one in my family that likes turkey. There's nobody else that likes turkey.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird.
I know. I like cooking turkey. That was among my favorite things in the whole wide world. Is you go to Payless and you get a bird and you defrost the bird, and there's two things that I like to do with the turkey bird, and one of them was trying to finesse the stuffing. or what in certain parts of the country, your part of the country, we refer to as dressing.
Dressing, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I wanted to learn to finesse that, and I got a couple of really, really cool recipes that I've tried out in the past, and I really enjoy. Although there's some people that say I've broken a couple of cardinal rules. One of them is you don't fruit the dressing, but I do. I like to put raisins or cranberries in my stuffing because it's some texture in there, right, and some taste.
Okay.
I didn't say I was a purist. I'm trying to Anthony Bourdain my dressing here, buddy. And then there's another thing that I like to do with my turkey, and that is I try to make the skin have a little bit of a crackling feeling.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I got a little crunchy skin.
So my brother takes that to another level, and there's something that I'm looking forward to this year. He knows that I like turkey, so he's gonna prepare turkey for me at the family gathering, but he's gonna fry it.
Uh-oh.
No.
You got to be careful.
He's good.
Yeah,
he's
you know
good.
what you're doing.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah. So I mean, I would never do it because I'd burn the house down.
Yeah.
But my brother, he knows how to do it. He knows what the right kind of oil to do, and he knows to pat it down, make sure there's nothing on the inside.
And that definitely gets that crunchy skin.
Yeah. Because there's something about turkey legs and that you crunch into, and then you hit the meat on the inside. Are we now hungry for turkey and gravy?
I am.
And with mashed potatoes on the side and some green beans. And that kind of thing. I got the taste in my mouth now, and cranberries, which might be the only other time in the year that I have anything that has cranberry sauce in it. I was looking at the lurkers on Facebook Live. Who else is there? Eunice Mendiola, Lillian Cruz, Huffa, Noreen, Tovis Phillips, listening online out in the stateside. It's always nice to see you there, Princess Ismael, Pat Antalan, Tom Tahadji's there, Dave Duenas, Rose Bill Murphy. I got Neil Weir, who's checked in. And some of these messages are going back to when we were talking sports. Rico Blancaflor says, I like the Eagles, too. Dak needs a receiver. I don't know what that means. I don't know what it refers to. I'm sure it's important. Happy Veterans Day from Pedro Alvarez. I've got Yoich Ringil, who's checking in. Phil Schraggy from the Micronesia Mall. Neitz, who mentioned that the power was out in Agania. Jennifer Post-Schnitger is online. Juanita Machi. I see Joe Cepeda. Bob Lizama. Eddie Cruz. Hi, Sharky. Vince Pareda. Daryl Taggarty is there. What's Daryl? Back from the drive to Mount Carmel in Agate. What were you doing down there? And Ismail says, yes, fried turkey is the best. Emmett, Tanya Affligui Conception. I see my buddy Terry DeBold over there. And Emmett and Tanya Affligui Conception writing half a day to us this morning. Nice to have you there. I'm sorry, I shouldn't play with this. It makes noise. 988-5874. And that's the WhatsApp. WhatsApp been fairly busy. Some interesting memes that were floating around yesterday. I showed many of these already on Facebook Live, but, I'm bored. And so I'm going to show them again on the Facebook Live. It's a whole bunch of people that had sent me some as I said, clever and interesting memes over the last couple of days that talk about the changes that we may see here on Guam as a result of the elections that we just had. For instance, we currently refer to it as Adelup, but it's possible that given this new administration, we may now refer to the seat of our government as Adelu. Adelu. Do you see that? Adelu is there. There's another picture that is floating around and reflects the current gender lean over at the legislature. We won't call it the legislature anymore. It will be called the ladies-lature. Ladies-lature. So put those in your vocabulary. Chances are likely that you've seen many of these memes. Is there another one? Yeah. This one here. Guess who will still be your friend no matter who you vote for? And then it's a guy pointing at himself. I will still be a friend no matter who you vote for. Know why? Because that's called being an adult. And so more so to the point that I was trying to make earlier. Guys, we got the holidays coming up. And no matter how, what's the word the guy used, acrimonious our election was, it doesn't make any difference because it's all of us, and we all have to go through the holidays around here together. That means trying to figure out what we're going to eat together, buying it together, we're going to cook together, and in a lot of cases get stuck in traffic together, and, yeah, might even see us at church together. 9:18 in the morning. So there's that. I started playing around with this, letting you know what was in my head in the last few minutes of the last hour of the program. And when we went to the polls on Super Tuesday, we got to vote for people. We got to determine who was going to be our congressman, who was going to be the attorney general, who was going to be the governor, who was going to sit as representatives of ours at the legislature. Note, I did not say leaders. I said representatives. I'm going to make sure that they understand that that's the job that they have been elected to do, to represent us, not to lead us. And so we did. We did. But in other places around the country, they went through some initiatives. They voted for policy. We don't generally do that around here. I think we should. We should do more of them. There should be more proposals that are out there from people that aren't at the legislature. They can only represent us so far. At some point, we say, this is a topic, this is something that needs to be decided by all of us. We could talk about self-determination. We could talk about one of these days having a vote that isn't going to get everybody sued and isn't going to get different members of our community all hot under the collar and mad at each other. And just go out and figure out what it is that we want to do, and then start talking about doing it. But anyway, we don't have to. I think that one of the last proposals that we saw on the ballot was a few years ago, and that had to do with casino gaming. Casino gaming is bad. It's very bad. I don't know why casino gaming is bad, but you know, parlors abound all over the island, and easy targets for criminals and thieves with firearms or things that look like firearms. Anyway, but I think that was the last time we got to proposal on anything. Would this last election have been a great opportunity, a great vehicle to propose recreational marijuana? I'm just using that as an example and using that particular voice to say it to stir up some trouble.
I ain't high, I'll tell you that, man.
Where's that? I gotta. Somebody sent me a thing early this morning, and I thought I emailed it to the WhatsApp thing. I'll find it. It's in here. Somebody send me a thing, and maybe I won't find it. I don't know. I'll dig it out. Like I said, I thought I sent it to myself, but I apparently did not. But it was funny, and it made me laugh. And it was clearly something that was taken someplace where they've approved recreational marijuana. So I'll share that. I'll share that with you when I get my hands on it, probably in the next break. But there are voters in lots and lots of states that were able to weigh in on key issues. The New York Times says voters in Florida overwhelmingly approved an initiative restoring voting rights. This is interesting now, to 1.5 million people who had been convicted of felonies but have completed their sentence. The measure, which excludes murderers or sexual offenders, was one of several backed by a bipartisan criminal justice reform movement. So generally the idea is if you get put away for a felony, that's it. You can't vote anymore. You cannot become a registered voter for the rest of your life. And in Florida, what they said was, gee, that's kind of harsh. You know, the guys have gone in, they've done their time, they've made up for whatever their sins were. So let's welcome them back to the voting world.
Any of them that felt like they wanted to vote could simply petition the court to remove that stipulation.
Well, I think they wanted to do something on a blanket level. 1.5 million people, and then
I'm of the opinion that if you go through the choice of breaking a law and it's a felony, you don't deserve to have those rights anymore, unless you straighten yourself up and then you have the gumption to actually go back and say, hey, I'm better. Can I have that?
So then what would the motivation be?
Not sure.
I do.
Got to be political.
Got to be political. It's always going to be political. 1.5 million votes that are out there. People that wouldn't normally be able to vote for you, all of a sudden they are out there. And some would say, well, there's a disproportionate number of minorities that might be included in those 1.5 million. Yes.
You think?
Yes.
The Democrats wouldn't be behind that, would they?
Florida, baby. Florida. Ohio rejected a closely watched measure aimed at reducing the prison population by decreasing penalties for low-level crimes. Again, they've rejected that. There's a bunch of celebrities, including Mark Zuckerberg, etc., that thought that might be a good idea. But the voters in Ohio disagreed strongly and said no, even though it's a low-level drug crime, it's still a drug crime. So we're back. We're not back in that particular. Washington State passed a ballot measure requiring mental health and de-escalation training for police officers in an effort to reduce officer-involved shooting. And so it sounds like a good, but it sounds to me almost like a solution out looking for a problem. Are there a lot of police-involved shootings in Washington State?
not sure, but I think they're just...
That's what, like the most mellow place in the world. Do me a favor, just real quick, Google that. Washington State officers, and see how many of these are out there. I'm not saying it's a bad idea as much as a requirement. I'm not sure about a requirement. Is that something that we want? Look, it's tough enough finding people that want to be police officers. And then you throw another requirement on top of everything else that they've got to learn and do and act. And maybe it's one of those things that, and unfortunately, and I'm trying to think like a police officer would, if you have got to in a hostile environment and under harrowing conditions have to make a second thought. Have to bring in another second thought, another line of thinking into the equation based on this requirement for mental health and de-escalation training. Is it possible that that could be the second that costs you your life? Got a bad guy with what appears to be a gun, and you've got a split second to make a decision. And inside of that split second, you're thinking about, I got to save my own life. I've got to take care of the lives and the property of people around me. And oh, by the way, is there an opportunity for me to de-escalate this? And do I take that opportunity now? What was the training? What did the coach say? And then bang, bang, matayao. What'd you find?
19 officer-involved shootings in Washington State. But the bigger problem, I think, is the national, which it is 830. And so this is probably just some sensitivity training to try to respond to the national trend in hopes that it doesn't get any worse in Washington State.
Well, but like I said, I mean, you think about it, if you're a cop, right, and the harrowing, very urgent situation, there's a guy over there with what looks to be a gun, and you've got that much time to make a decision on whether or not it is a gun and it is trained on me, it is leveled in my direction, and you've got that split second. Do you use that split second to defend yourself and those around you, or do you use that split second to go, well, let's talk about de-escalation here. Tell me about your mother. What's the matter? Why are you mad? Because it just seems to me I might be wrong. Could be. I don't know.
Well,
I've never
I
been
know
a cop. Nobody ever pointed a gun at me, so I don't know. But if somebody were to point something at me in a threatening way, and I happen to have a pistola on me at the time, I don't know that I'd want to get into the subject of mental health training or try to de-escalate the situation.
Yeah,
Your life is at stake.
There are very few of us that are listening or even talking on this radio station that have had that experience.
Yes.
It happens very quickly. People talk about things slowing down and all that, and it does if you're properly trained. That's why here we don't really have that problem, because mostly it's ex-military guys, and they've been through a lot more than just a guy driving drunk down the street, so they don't get all whacked out about it. In the States, I think the pool that they're pulling from just isn't quite that deep in terms of their ability to comprehend and deal with those things. This training may be a part of just trying.
Yeah,
to
I got a cop on the WhatsApp now that's typing in, says situation dictates uniform presence encountering a nutcase, especially armed. Sometimes that's all the triggering that nutcase might need to dispatch somebody. It never happened to me. It happened to my dad. My dad actually got in a gunfight when he was a reserve officer, and he said somebody pulled a gun and started firing at him. I said, "What did you do?" He said, "I shot back." I said, "Did you hit him?" He said, "I don't know," but I shot back, and the bullet stopped coming. So the desired outcome actually happened. Anyway, so there's that. Voters in Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Oklahoma have approved initiatives expanding the rights of crime victims. Lady D, listen, Marsy's Law, as they're called, named after a college student who was murdered in 1983, generally require authorities to locate victims for even low-level crimes and allow the victims to be heard at court hearings. Supporters say the measures give crime victims the rights they deserve, but even some prosecutors have said they may be too expensive and difficult to put into effect. So more by way of providing some relief, some justice for the victims of crime, because sometimes you don't get that. Most times I don't think you get that. I mean, if somebody breaks into the house, and I remember the first time somebody broke into my house when I was living out in Kenyatta. And I thought, first of all, they're never going to find the guy, and I'm never going to get anything back. And I was right on only one of the counts. They found the guy that broke into my house. We had good fingerprints on the thing, and the cops they picked up a guy, and he said, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm guilty. I did this. I robbed that house, that house, that house, that house, that house." And so, what did you do with the stuff that you stole? He said, "Well, I sold it for drugs." Of course, of course. Now, am I able to go back to him and get some kind of a restitution? Is there some way for me to go and get that justice from the guy? Was never even brought up.
So you should be. What happens in the States, what happens is people generally will not press charges in these cases, but the state will pick up the case for them on their behalf. And so then it goes through the process, and then in the determination of the sentencing, that's when they decide how much the criminal is going to pay all of his victims. And
yeah,
so,
and if there's, but I'm sure there's never any money available for that.
Oh, probably not. Yeah, most of these guys, you know,
they ain't got no money. That's why they're stealing from my house, is because they ain't got no dough.
That's right.
So it's weird. Did we go offline?
I am not aware of that.
Okay, because my video here changed to somebody else's video, and it's freaking me out. Let me go and click here where it says I'm live. And the title of the program today is Honor a Veteran Somewhere. Florida voters approved a measure that requires a 2/3 majority. I want this. I want this one. 9:30 in the morning. This is the one I want. Florida voters have approved a measure that requires a 2/3 majority in the legislature to enact new taxes and fees or to raise existing ones. Frankly, that probably should have come up. What are you writing about there? Something, which is why the stupidity with Ray is so very wrong. He's lucky we have many clear-thinking officers. Oh, that Ray, not me. Okay, I'm sorry, Debbie. I was wondering what it was that you were referring to in there. Anyway, so Florida voters approved a measure that requires a 2/3 majority in the legislature to enact new taxes and fees or raise existing ones. There ought to be that rule, right? So it's not just, it's the gang of 8 that can decide. 2/3 majority, which in our case would make it super majority and would make it so that the governor could not veto that said legislation. Interesting. In a continuation of a trend that was set a couple of years ago, voters in 2 consecutive conservative states, Kansas and Missouri, have raised the minimum wage, a policy that is often popular across party lines, and especially when you've got desperate politicians. Missouri's wage rose to $12 from $7.85, and Arkansas's has increased to $11 an hour from $8.50. Hey, that reminds me, somebody online, look this up, would you? Do we have a hike going in January? Do we have an increase in the minimum wage going up? Because it laddered, didn't they ladder it a few years ago? Where it was going to be this until 1 year and this in another year and that in another. It's one of the BJ's legislation when I wasn't on the air to say no.
Supposed to hit 1035 on January 1st.
On January the 1st, $10.35. HR professionals, keep an eye out for that. 9:32 in the morning. Hey, let's call that iConnect. I got a couple of other things that were voted on in the mainland that I wanted to share with you. What was I saying about iConnect time? Oh, yeah, it is iConnect time right now at 9:32. iConnect giving away a vacay for 2 to Manila with a stay at the new Holiday Inn Express. It's the Connect and Win giveaway. Here's how you do it. Sign up for a 12-month plan, push to talk mobile or internet plan, and you're automatically entered. Great prize for you just for doing that, plus a chance to win the big Connect and Win deal. Go to iConnectGuam.com for details.
Hungry? Enjoy a hearty, rich, and delicious cup of hot soup. In the mood for chili instead? You can have that too. And get a scoop of rice while you're at it. Circle K. Take it easy. Stop by Circle K and pick up snacks to satisfy your cravings without sacrificing good health. Look for the Better For You labels to find what works with your lifestyle. Low carbs, high protein, low sugar, and more. Circle K. Take it easy.
Gotcha. Portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at Wendy's. They've got a new chicken salad, but that's not what I'm going to talk about now. I'm going to talk about something that I have had the opportunity to enjoy twice. I hope they leave it on the menu. It's the Sawsome Sauce Burger. Have you tried that? It's first of all, it has bacon in it. So you can include this as part of your breakfast regime. Stacked with applewood smoked bacon, beef patty, melty cheese, the vegetable fixin', and the Wendy's signature Sawsome sauce. and ask for extra. Even, I mean, it comes loaded with it, but you'll want more. Frankly, give it to me in a cup because I want to dip my burger into it. I want to dip my fries into it. I want to be able to just tilt the cup back and drink the Sawsome sauce that way. Try it. Comes in the single, double, or triple format. The burger worth bragging about with quality in their recipe.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Friday morning, Raymond Gibson Show at 93.3 The Point. I would be the Ray. There's Mike. He gets the phone, 888-8255. WhatsApp me at 988-5874. And another story, we're talking about different deals that were on the ballots, different proposals and initiatives. And there's a couple of stories here. Voters in Missouri have approved a medicinal marijuana bill. Hey, we already did ours, right? We're so far ahead of Missouri. Isn't that great? But Michigan, and this is another one of these stories online. You can look it up a little bit more. Michigan has become the 10th state to allow recreational marijuana. First state in the Midwest, says Marijuana Policy Project Deputy Director Matthew Schweit, says Michigan will be the first state in the Midwest to end marijuana prohibition and replace it with a system in which marijuana is regulated for adult use. Adults will no longer be punished for consuming a substance less harmful than alcohol, and rather than having to resort to the illegal market, they will be able to access it safely and legally from licensed. And when we say licensed here, let's also remember licensed is also code word for taxable. Taxed businesses. The results in Michigan follow the opening of a recreational marijuana market in Canada and the repeal of marijuana prohibition in Mexico. With the addition of Michigan, check out this statistic. Nearly 80 million Americans, 25% of the U.S. population, now live in a state or a jurisdiction that has legalized recreational marijuana. Let that sink in. A quarter of the population of the United States of America can now consume marijuana legally. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? And we're not in there. We're not in that group.
No.
Could have been.
Not yet.
Could have been.
I say not yet. It'll happen.
So what did they get in the mix here? You can go to a couple of websites on the World Wide Web, as I'm capable of doing, and finding out some information, some splains on what this is. The recreational proposal allows individuals aged 21 and older to purchase, possess, and use marijuana and marijuana-infused edibles, and they can grow up to 12 marijuana plants for personal consumption. So if you want to go to the corner store and pick up some marijuana because it's Friday, right? You could.
Yeah.
Or if you have a green thumb,
just go out back and pick a bud or two.
Well, actually, no, not out back. You got to have it inside, and it can't be visible.
Oh, you could build a building out back.
A thing. But anyway, it imposes a 10-ounce limit for marijuana kept at residences and require that amounts over 2.5 ounces be secured in locked containers.
10 ounces. Wow, that's just insane.
Create a state licensing system for marijuana businesses, including the growers, processors, transporters, and retailers. But I don't know, dude. If you could grow it, why would you need all of that, all of the rest of that infrastructure? I guess the idea is we would allow it. We would allow it. There would be businesses that come in because you can do it either way. You can sell it in a store, in some kind of dispensary if you like, or you can grow the stuff on your own.
Yeah, I think it's just a wide-reaching legislation that allows them to kind of cover all the bases and do something even if it's wrong, and then fix it as you go along.
I'll equate it to home brewing. right? You can make your own beer.
That's right.
Yes, and I've done it. I've done it. And you've got to have patience.
Yes.
Because it takes weeks to ferment all of that stuff and make it so that you got something that you can safely drink at the end. But it's such an enjoyable thing. I have not seen one. I used to be able to buy them at the stores. The beginner kit, Mr. Beer. Have you seen the Mr. Beer?
I've seen the Mr. Beer.
I had a Mr. Beer. And you know what? If I could get my hands on one now, I would get two Mr. Beer kits. I'd get one that I would use at room temperature, but that restricts you on what kind of beer you can make. Yeah. And then then I got one that I can get like a second refrigerator for, and then stick it in there and make it so that it ferments cooler, which will expand my opportunities. But I digress. We're talking about beer. We should be talking about marijuana. So the way it works, I will equate it to that. You can grow your own if you want to finesse it. If you want to become that marijuana snob, that guy. Oh, well, I grow my own marijuana because I have certain distinct things that I'd like to see. I try to take the best from what we've got in Palau, along with the kind of, I don't know, spunky nature of our own homegrown
Don't
materials.
forget infusing those subtle hints of lavender.
Yes, these fellas. It's I like it because it does when you smoke mine, it doesn't get in your hair and make it obvious to everybody everywhere that you've been smoking marijuana. So there'll be guys that do that. Trust me, there will be guys. You already know who they are. I guarantee it. You've already closed your eyes. It's the guy that used to be a cigar snob, and now he's a wine snob. And now he's one of those guys at the craft beer festivals that you go to that you can't stand because they won't shut up about craft beer. Yeah. Like, dude, can I just have a Budweiser? It's okay. Okay, I'll go crafty. Blue Moon. Here, I'll go international. Acai Super Dry, right? So there's going to be those guys that will just annoy you to pieces because they're going to be marijuana snobs. That was a good riff, just on that. Nice. It will allow municipalities to ban or restrict marijuana businesses. Really? I guess you wouldn't want them near schools. Permit commercial sales of marijuana and marijuana-infused edibles through state-licensed retailers. Again, state license equals taxation, subject to a new 10% tax earmarked for, ready, schools, road, and municipalities where marijuana businesses are located. You want to solve the problems at Guam Memorial Hospital? Want to do that? Right? Just saying, guys.
Easy.
Just saying, as long as you can put up with that guy. Yes, I grow my own marijuana, but frankly, there's still times where I'll go to the corner store and buy marijuana from them because I want to support Guam Memorial Hospital. I also listen to podcasts and only watch public television. Sorry, I killed myself here. I've told you 100 times, guys. When I die, I'm going to come back as me again, just to annoy you. What do we got here? Somebody's sending me a picture, and one of those things. Is this something that I'll be able to use on here? I can't WhatsApp it to you because I'm at a secure facility, but he sends me a picture. It's a meme. Lipstick government. Guam makes history electing all lipstick-wearing lawmakers. That's just like the lips. I just like the picture of it. Yes and no. Don't forget, there are actually a couple of guys at the 35th Guam Legislature. We were hoping to get a couple of them on the air this morning, but we got weeks and weeks between here and the inauguration to do something like that. So yeah, eventually I'll get with Clint Rigel, newbie over at the legislature. Should have an easier time of it though. Because of all the years that he's been a journalist, he should have an easier time being in the ladies' lature because of all the years that he's had covering the ladies' lature. Jimmy Moylan, smart guy, smart fella, Jimmy. So I don't think he's going to have any problems getting over whatever the learning curve is. Look, how bad could the learning curve over at the legislature be? Come on, you and I have been watching this thing for how many years, and we know that there are guys dumber than a bag of rocks that somehow found their way into the legislature and didn't manage to screw things up too bad. So, I mean, and even if they are dumb, in many cases, they're smart enough to hire a guy that knows what's going on.
That's the key sometimes.
Yeah. So who are those guys? There is intel floating around about some possibilities of some of the departments and agencies and commissions, some names starting to get to float around. Yesterday we were talking to Governor-elect Lilian Guerrero, and she says, yeah, there's organizational meetings and there's people putting together strategies and tactics moving forward for the transition, and who is going to be where and who's going to be doing what. So I've got rumor. I'll tell you this right now. It's a rumor that Tom Atta may find himself at. Do we have drum roll? We do have a drum roll, right? In the thing? I know we've got Eric the War Eagle, but I'm hoping if we got a drum roll, then it would be good. Then I could really, really build this up. And there's going to be people that will have a certain amount of anxiety, maybe even a heart attack when you find out where Tom Atta's going to go. Thank you. Okay, stop, and we'll start again. All right, so this is rumor. It is complete and total rumor, and if it turns out to be false, that's what I'm going to say. I told you it was a rumor, but Tom Atta, Tom the Hammer Atta, could be going, if this rumor is correct, to the Port Authority of Guam. Total rumor, cannot confirm or deny. That's where he's going to be. He's had oversight of that in the past, transportation senator. Oh, okay. So he's had oversight of the legislature and has over the course of I think the last bunch of years has had opportunity to question quite pointedly some of the decisions that have been made over at the port. Mm-hmm. And who knows, might be if we do it right. And I don't care whether it's Tom or you, frankly, but might be one of the guys that can go in there and do it right and get out from under a $14 million potential payout for the YTK disaster. It's the only way that you can describe that over at the. How is it possible? How did that happen over the course of all the years where there was supposed to be something happening there, nothing happened there, and all of a sudden, bang! Here comes somebody that says, "Oh yeah, we picked up the license, even though it should have been expired, but now we're the new guys that are holding the YTK bag, and you haven't performed." To the level of satisfaction on the agreement that you had with YTK, so you owe us $14 million. And where's that money going to come from? The port doesn't have $14 million. So they're going to be increasing fees and that kind of thing out to the users of the port. And you know what? The users of the port don't have any money either. So you know where they're going to get the money to pay the $14 million that the port is going to be. They're going to be asking of the guys that they do business with, retailers, wholesalers. And guess what? They don't have any money either. So where are they going to get the money to pay the users of the port who are going to pay the port for the $14 million? They're going to get it from their customers. That's us. We're the ones at the end of that gravy train. So, yeah, like I said, might be Tom, might not be Tom. I don't care who it is, but I'd like to see somebody that might be able to either kill that deal or make it a better deal for all of the rest of us. 9:47 in the morning. So there's that. My understanding. Again, going back to conversations about who is going to be where, and I always start off with, whenever I talk about this, the guys that I'd like to see or the ladies that I'd like to see, among the most important places, it's where the cash register of the government of Guam rings, and that is the Department of Revenue and Taxation, right? Got Treasurer's Office in the back, passport place, driver's license, but the imposition, the enforcement, and the collection of taxes and fees into the government of Guam should be about $1 billion a year, and we know they're short by, Lou said it yesterday, $200 million, Ray. $200 million, Ray. Everybody is doing that to me, by the way, everywhere I go. Ray, you're late for happy hour, Ray. You should have been here 20 minutes ago, Ray. Everybody's doing that. Oh, my God. It's going to be a long 6 years, 8 years. Did you hear that, Lou? It's going to be a long, really? It's going to be a long 8 years, Lou. Yeah, just, let me get cozy with him. Let's have a honeymoon. Because, here's what's going to happen. And Ray will tell you this, and Felix will tell you this. But once you become the governor of Guam, I'm going to discover a whole lot of things that you're going to do that I'm going to disagree with, and I've got 4 hours to kill on this radio station. And guess what? So we're going to be talking about that. I'm kind of was looking forward to when this administration. I'm sure Eddie's looking forward to it as well. Looking forward to when the administration ends, we can go back to being buds again. Because I think there are times where like Eddie sees me and goes off in the other direction. Because I know that was the case with Felix. That was it. Yeah. That was. Sorry, buddy. Come on, it's the job. Somebody's got to be the loyal opposition. Somebody's got to be in the media talking about these things, and not everything that you do, Ray, is going to be the best thing that's ever happened in the government of Guam. All right, 9:48 in the morning, 888-825-5888-TALK. So what did I get in the table of contents today that I got? Oh, the governor's made. I should have done this earlier. I suck. The governor finally made some kind of a statement. I'd asked about this yesterday because. And what's the answer here? I get this from Kevin, right? Just about everybody had made a statement as of yesterday. We heard from Frank and Ray and everybody saying, well, we're going to wait out the other ballots. We'll see what happens. And I said, well, what about the governor? Governor didn't have to wait out anything. And so the governor did actually come out with his statement. He says, it's not easy to run for office. Your life and every word and action you ever made comes under public scrutiny as the people decide whether or not you are worthy of their vote. To those who threw their hat into the ring, I commend you for stepping up to the call to serve our island. For those who were voted into office, congratulations. And I pray for your success and most honorable service to the public. So, you know what? You spelled congratulations, Lou and Josh, wrong. Here, I just... Would it have been that
Nazi
hard?
Now, or
Would it have been that hard to say? Say the actual words. Congratulations, Lou Leon Guerrero and Josh Tenorio, first woman governor of Guam. And he says, hey, congratulations for winning. Just to everybody. Hey, Mike Limtiaco, Consolidated Commission on Utilities. Congratulations. Thumbs up you, man. Way to go. There's Leavin Camacho, thumbs up, buddy, right on. I'm in your corner. Would it have been so hard to say, congratulations, former colleague, Lulian Guerrero?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They served together at the legislature. Congratulations to my dear friend and banking buddy, Lulian Guerrero, first woman governor of Guam. I would have made a big deal about that.
Yeah, but she beat his heir apparent, so he's got to be on the down low, man.
God, still. And you could have put the caveat on it. You could have actually put a caveat, notwithstanding the other ballots that are still coming in. Tentative congratulations to the first elected woman governor of Guam.
They like that word in Agana, don't they?
Which one?
Notwithstanding.
Notwithstanding? Yeah. See, well, I got to use it every once in a while as well. Hey, listen, I got 9 minutes to kill before the end of the program, so I'll tell you how I'm going to kill it after these.
Bring joy to your world and your budget with a holiday loan from First Hawaiian Bank. At a low 4.99% APR, fixed for 1 year, it's a smart way to add ho, ho, ho without budget uh-oh. To apply for a holiday loan, visit any First Hawaiian Bank branch or FHB.com. For more information, call 1-877-640-2337. Additional restrictions apply. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Guam Regional Medical City. We bring the healthcare advances of the world directly to you. We are an acute care hospital that complements your needs with our robust outpatient specialty clinics. From preventative care to critical care, we strive for consistent excellence at GRMC. Our core philosophy is where patients are partners, which means we work as a team to make a healthier version of you. For more information about GRMC, visit us at grmc.gu.
So 9:52. I was talking about cigar snubs and wine snubs and what will undoubtedly be, because I'm sure they've got them in the States. Undoubtedly be here on Guam. There'll be marijuana snubs when we eventually get to the point where we're looking the other way on recreational marijuana and making it so people can grow their own. There will be people, the same way they're doing their own craft beer, there will be people that are going to be marijuana snobs. I can just see it happening now. But you know what we get? There's a certain kind of people, and I have to admit to being among them, huh? Not that I've got, incredible insight and knowledge in telephone and telecommunications technologies, but, I am wearing two phones these days. And one of the reasons why, I tell everybody I need two phones is I need one for like regular business and one for when the president needs me. And so that's why I have this phone. But the truth is, I have a lot of WhatsApp messages on this old phone that I haven't figured out how to get on this new phone. Don't try to help. Everybody has. It doesn't work. So I'm carrying the two phones. But I also like it because I can live in the Android world and the Apple world at the same time.
Walk both sides.
Exactly. Did somebody call and complain?
Actually, well, somebody called in. We heard earlier that the power was out in Agana.
Yes.
And someone just called, said now power is also out in Agate. So something's going on.
So all of the villages that begin with A, you're going to lose your power today. So there's Assen going to be next. Just watch. Maybe anybody here in the news business, maybe we'll call the Power Authority and find out what's going on. I don't know. We only got 5 minutes left on the air. Mindy says Dededo power's out. Hey, what's going on? So that's Mindy Uggan. So it's villages that begin with A and people whose last names begin with A are going to lose power today. We'll see what we can find out for you on that, and hopefully we get it done in the next 5 minutes or so. But anyways, playing around with the phones and the phone technology, and so I've got, this is, ladies and gentlemen, the latest and greatest from the Apple family. This is an Apple XS, and I love this phone. You can get yours now. I think every telecom provider has them, and I know the guys over at Beyond the Box has them. It's run the iOS 12. A lot of people crazy about that. And so it's a great handy device, obviously, that you want to have. And so I get to walk around and say, yes, I have the Apple XS. This is the absolute latest in the line of the incredible Apple products. But it ain't the best. It might be the best right now. Might be the coolest, grooviest Apple deal there is right now. But it won't be for very long. In 2020, Apple plans to launch a 5G phone. 5Gs, man. Right now we're 4G LTE world, and I think many people have probably already hit the limits of being able to enjoy that. I mean, I got great speed coming in on my phones. I got great plans that work on these phones, but they say that 5G going to blow you away. In fact, when we designed the radio stations, this one included, when we designed all the radio stations, we designed specifically to what I like to refer to, what my partner liked to refer to as 5G technology. So we didn't buy any old stuff. There are the very few analog devices in the building. As an example, the microphone I'm talking on is analog. My headphones, speakers in the studio, analog. Everything else is digital. You listen to Boss 104, like the tunes on Boss 104, unbroken digital communication between the song, the machine that plays the song, and the transmitter. It is digital all the way through. HD1, totally digital sound. You remember back in the old days with CDs, they used to have the SPARS code, AAD, so it was analog mastered, analog recorded, analog mastered, and then digital. So our SPARS code here at the radio stations, at least Boss 104, is DDD. Who have I got on the line?
Got Art Perez.
Art Perez. Hey, what did you touch? How come the power's out?
Sorry about that, Ray. No, I just got updated from our dispatchers that one of our IPP baseload generators went offline. Hey. This was not scheduled. It took different parts of the areas that were mentioned earlier. The last area to be restored runs from parts of Chanapago up to Zonia. Circuit that we call 294. It's in the process of being restored. Other areas of Agana and Aga Santa Rita that were out have been restored. They were out for a couple of minutes, but we have enough backup generation to make up for the loss of this one base load. So that's what the dispatchers are restoring right now.
Gotcha. All right. So we've got the reserve. We should be all right. Don't need to go and turn on any of the expensive, fast-moving devices.
Well, those are the ones that are compensating for the loss of this.
I see. That is the reserve. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so let's use that just as judiciously as possible. So this is one of our partners, our generation partners that lost the base load.
That's correct. Marianas Energy Corporation, unit number 9 is the one that tripped offline. Is what was reported to me.
Okay, how many what's the word? Megas.
Megawatts it
Yeah.
was carrying.
Yeah.
They didn't report that to me already. They just said that they're trying to recover from the loss of that unit. They didn't advise me how much load it was carrying.
Okay, so but we've got the reserve, and circuits are being restored as we speak.
That's right. We have one more to restore. It was out for less than 20 minutes, but it's still enough to significant enough where some circuits were taken out.
Yeah, so I'm wondering. So a friend of mine sent me a deal. He was asking me if we went off the air on 93.3, and it's possible that we did up in Nimitz. Might have lost a little bit of that circuit, probably on generator power now, and we'll probably lose it for a second when we switch everything back over. 10 o'clock in the morning. Art, I appreciate your time. Thanks for the fast action, buddy.
Oh, thank you very much, Ray.
All right, bro. You have a fantastic rest of the day. And no more power outages all week. It's Veterans Weekend. Veterans Day weekend. So anyway, in 2020, Apple plans to launch a 5G iPhone. You'll be able to download whole movies in 1 minute. In fact, you'll be able to watch The Ray Gibson Show on Facebook Live or YouTube Live. You'll be able to watch that, all 4 hours of it in minutes. So when we start the program at 6, you'll be able to watch all 4 hours of it by 6:15. Get the whole thing. Yeah, probably doesn't work like that. Hey, look at the time, would you? Listen, find a hero, somebody that's worn a uniform, someone who's enjoyed the privilege of service, and thank them for their service. Not just this weekend, but every day. I appreciate it, and I'm glad that I'm here taking advantage of the First Amendment because you were there to defend it. The radio station is KUSG Haggadah. Fox News Live is coming up next. Bob Klitsky at 4, and you have a great weekend. If I see you out there, I didn't mean it. Okay, bye.
Why did he do it? I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. New information coming to light about the suspect in today's mass shooting at a bar in Southern California that left a dozen dead.
FBI evidence response teams are going through the suspect's nearby home and vehicle. The suspect, Ian David Long, was a 28-year-old Marine. His body was found inside of an office in the Borderline Grill and Bar. He'd apparently killed himself. FBI Assistant Director out of the L.A. office, Paul Delacourt, says they're looking into motive.
Paint a picture of the frame of mind of the subject, identify any potential radicalization or any associates.
The sheriff here says they did respond to a disturbance call at his home this past spring, and a mental health crisis team spoke with him at the time. The sheriff says he may have been suffering from PTSD.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal in Thousand Oaks, California. Acting California Governor Gavin Newsom declaring a state of emergency in Northern California due to a dangerous wildfire. At least 27,000 people in the town of Paradise have been forced to leave their homes, and another fire has broken out in Southern California in the Newbury Park area of Ventura County. As the caravan continues to head toward the southern border from Central America, the Trump administration laying out new rules to limit where migrants can claim asylum.
The Trump administration says it will deny asylum claims not made at a port of entry, an attempt officials say to limit meritless asylum claims. President Trump is expected to enact that new rule by executive action on Friday. The policy is intended to speed up ruling on asylum claims. Currently, migrants with a well-founded fear of persecution can apply for asylum regardless of where they enter the U.S. In a joint statement, the acting Attorney General and Homeland Security Secretary say the president has authority to suspend or restrict asylum eligibility. Still, this action is expected to face a legal challenge.
Fox's Jared Halpern on Capitol Hill. This is Fox News.
Looking for opinion done right? Then go to FoxNation.com and pre-order right now. Fox Nation is the new streaming subscription service that will have exclusive daily shows, incredible documentaries, and must-see on-demand programming. That's the perfect complement for every Fox fan. Plus, go to FoxNation.com, pre-order now, and get one-of-a-kind exclusive merchandise. Available now, but for a limited time only. Don't miss your chance to become a founding member. Go to FoxNation.com and pre-order right now.
Chris Wallace on Fox News Channel.
The animating question for me is always, what's going to happen next? If people sense that you're not pushing an agenda, you're not pulling your punches, they're going to rely on you. It's a commitment to the truth. One of the advantages, I think, of having been in this business so long, you're able to detect what is real, what is important, and what's just political noise.
Chris Wallace on Fox News Channel. Real news, real honest opinion.
Charges have been filed against the captain of a Missouri tourist